I'm like, oh, wake up. And then like, I get back on my bike and I'm pedaling up the hill. And I'm like, wake up. So I'm having this out of body experience. I'm looking down at myself.
Welcome to the Endurance Studio podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Turner. I'm an avid ultra-endurance cyclist, bikepacker, and runner, and I'm on a journey to learn and share everything I can about how people can push beyond their limits. This podcast will explore all aspects of endurance through conversations with people I find unique and interesting. There's always an amazing story of accomplishment and failure, and always something to learn. I run this podcast from an off-grid mobile studio I've created so I can travel to the guests and have authentic, in-person conversations because I believe in the importance and power of face-to-face conversations. Thank you for watching and listening. This episode is brought to you by Squirrel's Nut Butter. Who doesn't need a little extra lube in their life? They make adventure lube. It's the best in the business. I use the saddle butter for riding and the anti-chafe for ultra running. It's all natural ingredients, sustainable packaging, and it's locally manufactured here in Flagstaff, Arizona. And go check out episode number 4 with Chris Thornley. He's the owner and operator of Squirrel's Nut Butter. He's an amazing human, and he's got some really great stories on that podcast. So check him out. You can use my unique promo code, Endurance15, for 15% off any of their products online at squirrelsnutbutter.com, or you can click the link in the description, and it will automatically be applied to your shopping cart. So please use that code. Go buy from them. Let them know that their support of this podcast is paying off for them, and spread that lube love. squirrelsnutbutter.com. I wanted to let you know a few different ways that you can support this podcast. Of course, you can like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Tell other people about it. Tell your friends and family. If you think these conversations I'm having are valuable as I think they are, share it, send it out, ask them to subscribe. That would be amazing. That's a free way that you can support. Another way you can support is by financially support is by becoming a member on either YouTube or Spotify. Those links are always in the description of all the videos. And YouTube members do get some extra perks like member shout-outs during the podcast, priority reply to comments, and best of all, you get early access to new videos that I'm releasing. You can also, if you don't want to sign up for a recurring membership, you can also show me your support by sending a one-time gift using what YouTube calls the Super Thanks feature. So when you're watching a video, down at the bottom, there's the little buttons, the thumbs up, thumbs down button. And right next to that, there is a heart with a little dollar sign in the middle, and it says thanks next to it. That is the Super Thanks button. So if you click that, it'll allow you to give a one-time gift, financial gift of your choice. And it's just incredible. Like seeing the support that I've gotten so far from both members and from Super Thanks is just amazing, and it is definitely allowing me to keep this thing rolling down the tracks. Today's guests are by far the most hardcore couple that I know. They couldn't stop with just one ultra endurance sport, and they basically just can't say no to doing crazy shit, which usually includes running and or riding great distances. They both have extensive ultra endurance resumes. Let me put it this way. A walk in the park for these two is riding from Flagstaff to the Grand Canyon, hiking rim to rim to rim, and then riding their bikes back to Flagstaff. You may know them by their slightly intimidating nicknames, Freako and Turbo, and they're both leaving their mark on the ultra endurance, running, and bikepacking community. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podcast Jeff Hemperley and Holly Hovious.
It goes up the highway out of Rico, up to Barlow Creek Road, and you climb all the way to Colorado Trail. Then you head towards Durango on the Colorado Trail.
Okay.
And you get off on Grindstone, and you come down Bear Creek.
Okay.
Pretty hairy in spots.
Yeah, I don't know any of this stuff.
Okay, Bear Creek. You get on the highway, go south on 145, go up Stoner Mesa Road. So it's a big, long dirt road climb. Then you get on the other side of the highway above Rico, and you do this Calico Trail, Winter Trail, and you hit some dirt road, and then you bomb down to the north of Rico on the highway, and then back to Rico. So it's 100 miles, 14,000 feet of climbing.
Oh, gnarly.
High elevation.
Sean, you know Sean Gregory?
I haven't done it.
No.
He races. He doesn't really race that much anymore, but him and I've done it like we finished in the daylight, like 11 hours and change.
Really?
Yeah.
How does it compare to like the Picket Post Pulverizer? Like that's like 70 miles, and
It's just different, because it's high.
that's like
just
terrible desert.
high country.
Roasting
Yeah, it's just so
shit.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just hard to compare to other things, unless you did stuff around Colorado.
Oh.
It's just high elevation. You go over Black Hawk Pass.
what time of year is it?
I don't know if they even do it anymore. I used to do it in August or September.
Okay. Was it like a AES type thing? Like
Yeah.
Unsanctioned
It's on the
sort of deal?
Carwell Endurance
You're on your
Series
own.
Okay.
website. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when I moved there, I was like, oh, I'm gonna create a race
Yeah.
and get on the calendar. And we were doing a Durango 100. That Matt Turgeon. Matt Turgeon's like the founding father of all this endurance series.
Yeah.
He started in New Mexico when I lived there,
Oh, really?
and I did the very first one that he did. It was like 140 miles. We had no idea what we were doing, and we did that around Albuquerque. And he had this whole series pop up, different people hosting the races in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Then he moved to Durango, and then I went to Rico not too long when he moved to Colorado, and he did the Colorado endurance series. And Oregon copied it. Oregon has endurance series, and
Okay.
then Arizona, and so
Right.
Yeah, I was looking at the New Mexico one. It looked pretty
they got some good ones.
good.
They got some good ones.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's like out, like up in the trees. In
Yeah,
New
the one
Mexico.
over. I don't know if they're still
Enchanted
doing it.
Forest.
The one by Taos or Angel Fire. That one's a good one.
Mhm.
They do South Boundary and North Boundary trails. That one's pretty gnarly. But yeah, so I did the very first ever like endurance kind of ride that Matt created the whole scene.
Sweet.
That was just cool.
His
Yeah.
friend sent us these. I don't know if you're into them. You and Jess maybe want to try them. They have liver in them.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bovine collagen.
No way.
We won't eat them because we don't do the meat,
He
but
sent me a case of them
just to share with
to
people.
share. I think it's his friend's startup company.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Primal Power.
I don't know.
Liver powered energy bar. Hell yeah.
It
I used to
sounds
eat
funky.
when I was a little kid. My parents used to give me chicken livers at soccer games. They were like, it's like
You need
good,
this.
good, strong power
Yeah.
for you. They were like deep fried, like chicken livers from like bashes. Like
My
horrible
mom used
for
to
you.
make liver,
Yeah.
cook it herself
Like-
and make us eat it.
Yeah, like liver and onions type
And
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try and stick it in your pocket at the table.
I
It's
liked
like
it. I enjoyed liver.
the mutton in Seinfeld.
Oh.
He was putting the mutton in his pocket, and then the dogs are following him.
That's so funny. Cool. Well, we're rolling.
Okay.
So yeah. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for
Thank
having us.
you.
Yeah.
It's intimidating.
Yeah. Are you nervous?
Yes.
I'm always nervous.
Yeah.
High anxiety.
I figured I could just like throw you something and you tell me a good 20-minute story.
Oh, yeah,
You're-
I can do that.
You're gonna be
Definitely.
the easiest podcast guests ever.
I don't know, or the worst, like hurting cats.
Might have to scrap this one at the
I
end and be
know.
like, that was horrible.
I was
What
telling
was I
him,
thinking?
I hope you have enough that you actually have enough to use that that you're not like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. No, I'm sure it'll be fine.
We're gonna put
But-
that
To
one
be
in the cat.
determined.
We're gonna put that one in the cat litter box.
It's funny. You two were like when I decided to start this podcast, you two were like the first people I thought of. You were
Really?
like first on my list. Yeah, I saw you at that one race, the one in Superior, the running race.
Was
Yeah.
it the Copper Quarter?
Copper Quarter.
Yeah,
Back in January.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was like, I'm starting a podcast. Will you come on my? And
I
I had
didn't
like,
realize you had just started it.
yeah, I didn't have the
then.
tent or anything. It was just like an
Yeah.
idea at that point. I was like,
Yeah.
could this
Yeah.
be a thing? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
here-
yeah. It can be a thing.
Now I remember now since you mentioned it. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna put them on my. Let's get all the. I tried to get. It's like a logistical challenge being in person, right? That's the biggest challenge with this
Yeah.
thing. Is like I want to travel to people, but I want to like maximize
Yeah.
when I go someplace. And like with Pinions, there was like people from everywhere that came in, and I was like, all right, I gotta get everybody. I want to
Meg,
talk
you
to
got
everybody.
to talk to Meg, which was
Yeah,
great.
I had to be very selective because there's people
Yeah.
only in town for like a day or two after,
Yeah.
or sometimes they leave right away.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So, but so I wanted to kind of start with like, Jeff, I've known you for a while. You were kind of a mystery man to me for a long time.
Heard the name, but didn't see the.
Yeah.
Didn't-
So like the first time I saw you was you were trying to set the FKT, I think, on the Coconino 250 loop. and you got stopped by, what I heard was you got stopped by the rally car race.
Yeah, out of the
Yeah.
blue, we get stopped. We're in the middle of a rally car race. We didn't know it. We had passed up a county sheriff and some other officials, and there was like yellow flagging blocking all the campsites on the downhill from Jerome, and we were like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." And so when they stopped us after the river, started climbing back out towards Perkinsville Road, is when these people were like started yelling at us and freaking out, and said, "Oh, the rally cars are coming. You gotta get the hell off the course." And we're just like, "What?" Yeah. So we couldn't go backwards. We couldn't go forwards. Couldn't go sideways. So, yeah, we got stopped, and then we had to get a ride in the back of one of the pickup trucks of the officials.
Oh, really?
He took us to where the course takes that right turn that goes up to the Great Western Trail. So we got a ride there, and it was kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we're going to get an asterisk.
Right.
Yeah, we're done.
Right.
And I was with Eugene Gonzalez from Prescott.
Oh, I just met him a
Yeah.
couple weekends ago.
Yeah, he's a quiet dude. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had to force him to be friends.
Oh, really? He's a single speeder, right?
Yeah.
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 I sold him a frame bag when I first met him. I was like, "Hey, you need a frame bag? I'll sell it to you."
Yeah. He's been out. He said he was just kind of getting back into riding,
Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
he
Got a
kinda-
family?
He's up and down. He's got a couple kids, but yeah, he's a cool.
but
cool-
he's
cool dude.
strong.
Yeah.
Like,
He's real strong. He's a quiet dude, strong.
Quiet
Yeah.
storm.
Yeah.
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 But so we got stopped on that one, and right in the middle of a rally car race, and I looked up towards Perkinsville Road, and you can see the dust.
yeah.
You know, it's probably like being on the Baja 1000,
Yeah.
where you'll get smashed. But yeah.
So it happened to me on Verde Valley Randonnée, going the other direction. So because you were hitting head on, but I came in from Williams and came down, and then same thing. There was a sheriff, and they were like, "Nope, can't get through." And I was like, my goal at the time was to, I don't know, get like under 24 hours on that loop.
yeah,
And it kind of was a big buzzkill to
Yeah.
that. It was like this huge adrenaline dump. And then we finally talked to some people. Another couple bikepackers showed up, and we talked the right people into like letting us go through it in between the two, because they were like releasing in waves, like two
Oh.
waves of cars. And so there was like a window of time in between. And they were like, "Yeah, you have like 20 minutes to get through this section." Right.
Okay, go.
So I'm like hammering through it, and it's just like moon dust everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, like horrible. And there's like a rally car like wrecked off the side of the road
Oh,
that
wow.
they're like pulling out. Somebody got a little wild, you know?
Yeah.
And then I start that Perkinsville climb. I like ran to the Verde and got as much water as I could as quick, because I was supposed to fill up there
Yeah.
and have a nice little break, and it like turned into
No
like
break.
no break, like run down,
Yeah.
filter, run back, get on the bike. And then dude, like the adrenaline dump was so hard climbing after that.
Mm.
Like I got sick. It was horrible.
the body
Just
was like going into turmoil.
because I was hammering
Panicking and yeah.
I was hammering for like 7 hours from Flagstaff at the beginning of that loop, hammering on a gravel bike, and then stopped, and then not knowing whether or not you're going to be able to get through, and then like
All of a
riding
sudden
as
go
fast as
again.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally threw us.
Yeah.
I was with Eugene, and we threw us a loop. It's like, what? We're
Yeah.
right in the middle of it. Didn't know it. But,
Yeah.
we weren't stopped. We went by people. Like I said, went by the sheriff. No one said anything.
Yeah.
And then these people.
The sheriff didn't, because they stopped me. They
No.
were like, "You can't."
It was one of the checkpoints after the river when the lady started screaming at us, freaking out.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like very good
No signs,
signage,
no signage.
or
Yeah.
anything.
They had like one small sign on Perkinsville Road, the pavement down, that said like special event ahead
Yeah.
over the weekend.
Nothing about
Tells
closed
you
course.
nothing.
Something like that.
No
yeah.
closed course signs. There was nothing. We came off that Great Western Trail outside Jerome. You take that left turn, and there was nothing.
Yeah. They're permitted for it though. Like it's a
Oh, yeah.
like
Well,
they're
I-
allowed
so
to
if
be there.
they can, that makes me wonder about Crown King Scramble. If they can close that road for that event, it would be amazing if they could close the road for Crown King Scramble from Lake Pleasant to Crown King,
Yeah.
because it's gotten out of control
Really?
with the
Side by
OHVs.
sides.
Yeah, I have done it. I think 4 times or something like that, and over the course of however many years, since like 2013 or something, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse.
Really?
And the last time that we did it, which was his first time, when we decided to do the out and back, because we were training for Cocodona 250,
Yeah.
we decided we would run the race and then we would tag and turn and get a buy one, get one or whatever.
Yeah, dumb idea.
Do 100K.
Okay.
So that's what we did. And the way there it was pretty nuts out there. There was so many.
Yeah.
And then when we turned around and came back, we thought, oh, maybe it's going to mellow out and we'll get a break because it's going to be nighttime. They took a break, but then they came back out. All the night shift came out
on their side by side.
and it was really scary. It was
Yeah.
off the hook. And they didn't expect to see us.
Yeah, imagine running down that main road by Lake Pleasant at night in the dark with our little headlamps, and then razors all lit up. They're blasting.
Partying.
Probably partying, drunk still. They took
Yeah.
an afternoon nap,
Yeah.
got rebuzzed, and got back on their side-by-sides. And yeah, same thing. They could close that road for the race, but we took upon ourselves to do the out and back,
Yeah.
and it was nutty.
I'm glad we did it, but I would not do it again. And we tried to encourage a few others to try it as a nice training tool for Cocodona because it's a good, way to get a 100K in.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get the kind of training in that you need for that without doing stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like a 100K or a. So.
So you guys both did the Cocodona 250. What was that? 2 years ago?
The first year.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
The
the very
hard year,
first
they
year.
say. The first year,
The hard
Yeah.
year.
2021.
Because the course was slightly different.
They-
Is that why it was
Yes,
harder?
I believe so.
Yeah, after the first inaugural year, and then Jamil, who created the course, with a few others. He even said after the race, he goes, "That was pretty hard."
Yeah.
It was.
I said, "Yeah, you think?" There's some stuff I was out there, and I was like, "Well, what's nothing?" Oh, Jamil's a great guy, but I was like, "What the hell is he thinking? Is he trying
Yeah.
to kill us?"
Yeah.
Anyways, but they did alter it some.
It's gotten tweaked, and we were kind of helping get those things ironed out. That's part of the inaugural year, I guess, is to sort of help get those things ironed out.
and it was
Yeah.
great to be involved in the inaugural year and be
Oh,
out
yeah.
there doing it because
Since we live here, it's like, we got to do it.
Yeah. And going through Prescott's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
a main
Yeah.
thing
yeah,
on
we
that
live in
race,
Prescott,
Whiskey
so
Row.
it's awesome.
It's a great idea, to see Arizona and do the point-to-point thing.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
It's a logistical feat, and I've said this a few times on this podcast, but it's like an incredible feat of permitting and
Can only
the
imagine.
live stream, and like they've made ultra running the most boring thing ever to watch, like a spectator sport, right? There's
Yeah.
tons of people that watch that live
Yeah.
stream.
Oh,
And-
it's addicting.
Oh, yeah,
You start watching
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
You think it'd be like watching golf. Like, oh, wow. This is
Exactly.
a real yawner, but they get really engaged in it. They make it
Yeah.
interesting. They pull other people into the studio when they do the live stream and
Yeah.
Yeah.
talk to a lot of different people and get out there on course. So I don't think we were involved in the live stream the first year.
No.
They wanted to come find us on course because they had heard about the mountain lion situation that we had the very first night.
Yeah.
I don't know this. Please explain.
We were coming out of, I think it was Lane Mountain Aid Station. We had gone through Crown King. It was
9:00 at night.
got dark. It was about 9 o'clock. We left I think it was the third official aid station, and we were going down the road before we took a left on this single track, which now that single track is not in the race anymore for
Yeah.
good reason because it's pretty gnarly. And there was a headlamp coming towards us, and we're like, "Oh, maybe what's going on with it?" There's
Yeah.
a guy, and he was freaked out. He just said there was a mountain lion and cubs,
Uh-oh.
and he was
and
going
she
backwards.
hissed at him.
It was pretty, and it was like 20 feet from him or
Yeah.
so.
So he got scared.
So I was like, "Hey, dude,
yeah.
let's not go backwards. Let's go forward.
Stay with us. We'll all go together.
We'll get by it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we come right where she's at. She's off to our right,
You could see her and the two
she's
babies
sitting
next
there
to
with
her.
her two cubs.
Were the
And
eyes like
They were
glowing in
all-
the headlamps?
She's 30
They
feet
were
from us.
all
Oh
looking
my
at us.
God.
She's like
Yeah.
here to your truck, closer than your truck over there, like 20, 30 feet. And she was pretty pissed. But they weren't moving. They were
Yeah.
just kind of standing
Yeah.
there, sitting there.
And
and
we passed by and everything was fine.
I said, "Hey guys, I don't use hiking poles," and I told them, "Hey, get your six in front of you, just
Yeah,
in case
because
you
I did ask him. I was like, I'm not sure what do we do, Jeff?
just get your six in front of you."
Yeah.
Make yourself look big and scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was
It's
kind of
like
yelling.
smacking the poles together.
Right.
And
I
I'm
was
like, just passing through, just passing through.
so we just kept facing
Distance, yeah.
her.
And-
Don't turn your back ever, especially when they're that close. You never
Right.
know what she can
yeah.
do. And we got by, And then the whole rest of the night, you're looking around in the woods because you're thinking, okay. And there's a lot of mountain lions out there, of course. And that's the whole Bradshaw Mountains. And a friend of ours who was doing the race that year, he saw 2.
Tor.
Yeah, Tor.
Another Prescott guy,
Another
Tor.
Prescott guy. He saw 2 that night over by Mount
Union?
Francis.
Oh, Mount Francis, yeah.
Mount Francis, I believe, on the way to the next aid station.
We didn't see any others after that. But I was able to call Lisa Kravitz. She was at the aid station, and I called her and I said, "Hey, let people know. Maybe don't leave by yourself if you're going."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she wasn't moving.
I was
Isn't
glad I
there,
could
like,
at least do that.
Hats you can wear that have like faux eyeballs on the back of your head.
Probably.
Have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah, they're like reflective
That's smart.
so-
eyeball shaped reflectors so
Yeah.
that it looks like you're looking at it. So
Yeah.
it can't sneak up on
I
I'm
like
thinking
it.
like a Kevlar reinforced neck gaiter.
outfit.
I wear neck buffs a lot, and I was thinking, oh, a Kevlar one, because they go for the back of your neck.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
something Kevlar. You know,
Yeah.
it's like wearing snake boots. You wear a lion gaiter.
Yeah. Totally, dude. Is that like
With eyeballs.
you had to have seen mountain lions
Back-
before, both of you, with as
Yeah,
much
I was-
stuff as you do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was stalked. I was stalked by one on the Arizona Trail 300
300?
race. About 3 a.m. I saw the same line 3
Martinez
times.
Canyon.
Yeah, Martinez Canyon way up on top.
It has to be Martinez Canyon,
Right?
right? Like that place freaks me out. It's like
It's-
Mountain Lion Lane.
Yeah.
Well, I came around the corner. It's dark, and I was pushing my bike, and
That's
And-
at the end, right near the end.
right at the
Yeah.
end, yeah, I got like 15,
But not close enough.
15, 20 miles to
it
go
seems
or whatever.
closer than
And-
it is.
I was pushing my bike, and the guys I've been riding with, Dan Holmes from Rico, and this guy Tony who hooked up with us he was from Wyoming at the time. I'm not sure where Tony's at now, but anyways, and I was ahead of those guys. They were walking zombies. You know, we're going all night to finish.
Yeah.
I wanted less than 3 days, and I was in 2 days and change. So we were going all night on that last night. We barely have slept the prior couple days. And I get on this corner, I'm pushing the bike, and then my headlamp hits this line sitting kind of off in the brush on a rock or something. I was like, oh, cool, mountain lion. This is awesome. Wasn't too concerned. And then I was like, it'll just run away. You know, there's a bunch of us coming through here, and some guy from
Making
Crested
low
Butte, I forget
noise.
his name, he had just gone through ahead of me. So I figured he's probably just sitting there checking us out. You know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, a bunch of headlamps, and
Yeah.
you know, lions probably pretty intrigued at
Curious.
what's going on. You know, they're curious. They're cats. Have you seen a house cat? They're curious.
Right.
Yeah, they want to go play and smack you around or something. But
Yeah, like
and they're like, oh, look at these
have some
bouncy-
fun before it
look at these
murders
bouncy
you.
toys coming through. They got lights and stuff. It's like a game. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I see it and I'm like, oh, it's cool. It's gonna run off. And I kept going, pushing my bike still to get to the top. Pretty jazzed. I was going to finish the race in under 3 days because that to me, I was told, hey, if you finish this race under 3 days, you know, you're pretty badass. So
Right.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna feel pretty badass. I'm gonna finish this. And then so I go a little further, and I'm just happening to look around, and I look up to my left on the hillside, and here's this lion. I assume it's the same lion,
Yeah.
and he's staring at me through like all the shrubbery, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Then
Oh.
I got a little concerned,
Dude.
and it's really windy, and I was yelling top of my lungs down to Tony and Dan. I was like yelling, lion, lion, and they said they could barely hear me because it was so windy up there.
Yeah.
And actually, I lost my voice a little bit. I was yelling so loud, and so I kept pushing. And now, so I'm pushing my bike. I grab my pocket knife. I put my lights on bright, the helmet light. I got the Phoenix lights on full blast. I got the handlebar light on full blast. I'm looking around. I got a pocket knife in one hand, and I'm pushing the bike. And I'm looking around, and then I see the damn thing again, up on the hillside a little further. So
Oh
I see
my
it
God.
3 times, and now I'm really freaking out. So I'm yelling at the lion, like, you know, go away. It's just sitting there. It's like it's cool as a cucumber. It doesn't give a crap about anything. I think it was just super intrigued.
Yeah.
But I'm freaked out. My adrenaline is off the hook.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I do? Who do I call?
Who do I call? Yeah. You're
Seriously.
in Martinez Canyon.
My head was freaking out, man.
No
Yeah.
reception.
Anyway, so then
Yeah.
Tony and Dan get up there, and I was like, tell them, you know, lion. They're like, well, we could hear you yelling lion. It was windy, but we thought you heard lion.
Yeah.
And so they hustle up there, and then they start both blasting full speed. I'm like, no, slow down. No, the thing's going to chase us. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
And then
Oh my gosh.
and we got through that section and we got over the top and started traversing the side cliffs there. And then they fell apart again. They went to zombie land. I got over by where the new water catch is now.
Yes.
And I look back for the lights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't see no lights. Well, the lion got him. Seriously. And we all been riding together for a couple days. So I was like, I should probably wait. I know it's a race, but I could just blast on down the hill. But
Yeah.
I actually parked my bike and ran down the trail a bit to see if I could see their lights.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of concerned, but
Yeah.
But then when I saw their lights and they were coming, I blasted and left them.
Yeah.
Then I saw what's those furry little cat looking things?
The Quadamundi?
Yeah, Quadamundi.
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
one at the end.
Really?
I didn't know what it was. I was
What?
living in Colorado in Rico.
Yeah.
We don't have those. We have like little what's those things?
The Martins?
The martins. Yeah, we have pine martins.
Okay.
They
I
kinda
don't know
look
what those
similar.
are. Yeah.
Pine martins are cool.
Yeah.
We saw some Mount Lemon one time. We were doing a run or bikepacking race up there. But anyway, so I saw this thing. I was like, "What the hell's that?" I'm in the desert.
Is that like a?
It's not pine martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't have pine martins down here. Everything out here wants to stab and kill you. I lived in Rico. I had PTSD from everything trying to stab and kill you out there. Lions, a prickly pear, the cat claw. I had no idea what cat claw was.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I've been in Arizona enough racing and stuff, but yeah. So I'm seeing this Catamundi, or Monday, whatever you call them, and I even went back home and I couldn't even Google it to find it.
Yeah.
And finally I found out what it was.
Chupacabra.
The Quadamundi was when we did the Hundomungus, I think.
Oh. Anyways, but yeah, so yeah, the mountain lion thing is a little scary, and I've seen them plenty. And that was one instance where I saw it 3 times at 3:00 in the morning. You're sleep deprived. You see this cat, and then your whole. You think you're somewhat balanced on what you're trying to get done and push through. Then you see a mountain lion a few times, and it changes the whole dynamics of your mindset. And like you're saying about the adrenaline.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the adrenaline's like through the roof.
Right.
I was gonna have a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen one, but like I've thought I've seen one, and just the adrenaline has like pulled me out of holes. Thinking like I've gotten all this instant energy from some reserve somewhere in my body, you know?
Didn't know you had.
Because you're like fight or flight mode, basically. Like instantly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So. But I've seen quite a few. We saw one. We were doing the 50-miler Ring the Peaks Sky Race here in Flagstaff. We saw one up on the ski area.
Oh, okay.
Towards the end,
Mm-hmm.
I look over my light and I see they're distinctive. Cats have forward-facing eyeballs. Wasn't
was
a deer.
Awful.
I was like, oh, mountain lion.
It was near the end, and it had rained, and it was super windy. I thought I had hypothermia for a little while. We stopped at the Schultz Tank aid station, which had Ian and Emily were there, thankfully,
Do you know
and
them?
it was closed
Torrance?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the aid station tent was all closed in, and we went in there and we were wringing our socks out. And they put like a sleeping bag on me, and I was trying to eat soup, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't stop shaking, and I thought I might be like
Pre-hypothermic or something.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep going because I couldn't get it under control. But then we rallied and got going, and I'm so glad that they were there because they're
Situation was dire. I mean, it was
experts at that kind of stuff, and they took good care of us. And we got back out there, and we were able to finish.
Yeah.
And we saw the lion by the ski area, which was interesting. But yeah, we've seen quite a few.
What about bears? Like, have you ever been in places with grizzly bears and seen?
No grizzly bears, but when we do the Great Divide one day, we'll definitely be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I lived in Rico where a lot of black bears. So when I first moved there from the big city environment, I've been living in a desert between Vegas and Albuquerque for 18 years in that type of environment. And I moved to Rico, which is a big drastic change. If nobody knows where Rico is at, south of Telluride on Highway 145,
Yeah.
middle of the San Juans. And
Yeah.
when I moved there, my first bike ride out the door, I ran into a black bear drinking out of a mud puddle. And I raced back to the house. I had a real rental house while I was building my house. And I said to my partner at the time, my ex, I was like, "There's bears out there." She's like, well, yeah.
Duh.
Do you see where we moved to? What are you, an idiot? I was just like, well, I didn't think I'd see it out of the gate,
Yeah.
day one.
Yeah, day one.
And
Welcome.
then, and so, but they're pretty scared of you. And
Yeah.
it was common to have the black bears, see them on every ride. It'd be cool to see them above Rico and the avalanche chutes. They're sitting on their fat bums out there eating all the we call them service berries, little red berries.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there snacking away.
Grubbing.
It's cool to watch them, but they were pretty skittish. But
Yeah. Do they have problems with like going through your garbage and stuff?
Yeah, we
Probably,
finally
yeah.
got bear-proof garbage cans, and you'd hear them at night. I'd have the windows open during the summer, and you hear them out there at night, neighbor's house bashing the trash can, trying to get into it, and you hear it roll down the hill. It's quiet for a second, and all of a sudden, you hear it again. They're going to town.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I've only had to shoot
Nah.
some bean bags at them a couple times when they were close to the house. But
It's a big problem in the White Mountains in eastern Arizona.
Yeah, it's a,
Yeah.
They have to lock up their trash. It's like not a thing here in Flagstaff. Like,
Yeah.
what about Prescott? Do you?
No.
Not where we are.
there's bears around, but there's not
They're,
that many.
they're not like going through your trash and
No,
stuff. You don't
not
have to
where
lock
we
your
are.
The
garbage up.
javelina are worse for trash.
Yeah.
Really?
I've actually seen javelina knock over a trash can broad daylight,
Really?
and I was like,
Yeah.
"What? They knock over trash cans? This thing, big javelina, jumps up, knocks it over, and then it's like a pack of coyotes a kill. One knocks it over, and then the rest come out of the trays, and then they're all grubbing.
Okay.
I've never seen it before.
It's like the one sacrificial guy has
Yeah.
to go in and
Goes in,
knock it out.
And the
not
other ones
get
are-
It's your
shot.
turn.
Javelina, they're wild. They're crazy little animals. Like they
Yeah.
turn sideways and you don't realize how skinny they are, how narrow they are.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
When they hit your face on, you know?
Yeah, Pico
We
chased them a
learned
couple.
recently that a group of javelinas is called a squadron.
What?
Yeah.
That is a fun fact of the day right
it's
there.
cool.
A squadron.
I was like, that is awesome.
It's like a military term.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the Air Force. We called
Yeah.
we're a flight, but I think Army and the other ones are called squadron, or maybe it's a squadron. Is that a flight of planes, a pack of planes?
A murder of crows.
I have no idea.
I used that one this morning.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah, we had a murder of crows in the backyard.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah?
it's called.
Yeah.
Another fun fact.
Yeah.
murder of crows.
Learning some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Squadron.
Yeah. I love that they're called a squadron.
So are you talking Tour Divide or Great Divide when you said someday we're going to do?
The official Tour Divide.
Right. So
Yeah.
the gravel, the one that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you been following it at all?
A little
This
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching the Josh Ibit coverage. Have you seen his channel?
No.
He kind of like, it's really good. He like, he's a European dude. So he does a daily recap at like, basically, it's 3:00 in the morning, Tour Divide time, but it's, like the morning or something at his time. And so he kind of recaps the previous day and he gathers all the Instagram footage and
Yeah.
does like an update on everything and does like, aggregates all the social stuff so you don't have to like hunt around for it
Oh,
to,
good.
to follow it. And
I just
then
been watching the tracker.
yeah, so he like recaps all the dot watching stuff and then he like brings in social media. People will send him the social stuff.
Oh,
It's really
I'll have
good.
to check it
Cool.
out.
Yeah, Josh Ibit.
Something else I need to jump into a rabbit hole.
Well, it's good because like there's so much content that comes out of it in so many different places,
Yeah.
and like you don't get like you just don't get the full story from. We know this from being in these things and then dot watching these things.
Yeah.
You just don't get the same story dot watching that
No.
you do being on the ground, and doing the event.
yeah, it's one perspective.
Yeah.
You have a lot of different perspectives, and it makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah,
Get,
like- it's
get
like
more of
doing
a full picture.
Yeah, but I'd like to do that one year.
yeah.
You
It's
know,
on
I've
my
done-
bucket list
I've
as
done.
well.
We
Yeah.
were going to try and do it a couple years ago, and just getting the time off of work, and
Yeah.
we'd have to. We want to go do it when we can enjoy it. It was on my list to do it by myself.
Yeah.
I've done this CTR. I've done the Arizona Trail 750 when it was just 750 before. Now it's 800,
And the
And
300.
and I've done the 300. So I wanted to do that one. It's the big three, the Triple Crown.
Kind of a
Yeah.
lifetime
Yeah.
accomplishment.
I would never do all three in the same year because to me that sounds a little crazy. But people do it, and we need to have endless resources, money to just take a bunch of time off work and do all three in the same year. To me, it seems insane.
Yeah, totally. The work thing has always been like, I think physically I could pull it off. Physically, I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to pull it off.
Right. Right.
Like
Yeah.
Yes.
Andrew's, I haven't gone deep into it, but I know Andrew's kind of mixed on Andrew Stremke, like
Yeah.
him doing the Triple Crown and like the effect it had on him long term afterwards.
Yeah. It's a lot to ask of your body.
And then the time commitment, right?
Yes.
Being away from your routine and your house and your work, if you do work and
right.
a
And
big
most of
commitment.
us work.
yeah.
And so when I did the Arizona Trail 300, well, I did the CTR first in 2013. I've been bikepacking a little bit before that, just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And then living in Rico, it's like, oh, it's a perfect place to go bikepacking and do some fun stuff. I moved there in 2006 and lived there 9 years, and it was a great place. And I was like, okay, CTR.
Yeah.
And so I'm right here. It's my backyard. And so 2013, I did the CTR, and that's pretty amazing. And that was the year when Stefan, do you know Stefan, who does the CTR race, who organizes it?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna start switching it,
Directions.
flipping
Right.
directions. I'm like, well, of course. Now it's gonna go Durango to Denver, and I was like, I wanted to finish in Durango,
Right.
but whatever, it's still
Yeah.
close enough. So
you ended up doing it southbound or
no,
Denver?
northbound.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You ended up doing
Northeast,
northbound.
yeah. So Durango to Denver.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that was cool. I was like, okay, CTR. Then I went and did the AZT 300 in 14. Gave that a break and then wanted to do the 750 and I did that in 17.
Right.
And I wanted to go break the single speed record that Shell Monet had set right at 9 days on an ITT, I think the previous year. And so I just had to get under 9 days, and I did. I got 8 days, 12 hours, 51 minutes.
Yeah, that's wild. That's like
And there were some snow detours, so it wasn't, the course changes every year.
Yeah.
Snow detours,
it was what on the north
yeah,
Kaibab?
Flagstaff.
Oh, there were snow detours in Flag.
And North Kaibab's always detours.
Okay.
I mean, almost now with being in October now, probably not so much, obviously, with the snow, but when it would be held in April,
Yeah.
the North Kaibab was just 3-4 feet of snow. But the year I did it, you couldn't even think about doing the trail. It was, like I said, 3, 4, 5 feet of snow all the way to Jacobs Lake. Then you could get back on the single track. So that year, I did the 750 and just wanted to go fast,
Yeah.
have fun. I was primed. I trained up for it really hard. And then so the divide's been on my mind to do the divide.
So when you say training, was it like a lot of mileage, a lot of elevation, just time on the bike?
Time on the bike,
did you
everything.
hike? Did you train for the canyon section?
Yeah, trained specifically in the canyon for the canyon.
So you like strapped your bike up and like
me and
checked everything out.
Me and Dan Holmes, when we went, he lived in Rico still. He passed away a couple of years ago. But
Oh, okay.
anyways, him and I met up at the Grand Canyon at the South Rim. It was still wintertime, snow on the ground, and we were getting ready to do the race in April. So I think it was maybe early March. We met, rode our bikes to the South Kaibab trailhead, strapped our bikes onto our packs. Had no idea what the hell we were doing, but it's like, oh, this can't be that hard. Put them on the back, went down the South Kaibab trail, and went back up Bright Angel. So we just did a loop
Yeah.
with them on our backs, and it was pretty awful.
Yeah.
And then we get in the race, and that was with fresh legs, It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I can do this. And we saw a law enforcement officer down at the bottom by Phantom Ranch, and he was a fellow bike packer, and he's like, oh, it's awesome seeing you guys train for this. And I'd take my pack off, and my tire hit the ground. He's like, can't touch the ground. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay. You could take you're allowed to like, I wondered about that.
Yeah.
You can,
It was
Must
fun.
not
It was
touch
funny.
the ground.
they're like hardliners.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I get that.
So we trained for it, which was, and
Smart.
I learned a valuable thing. It's the little things that you learn on your training. And in this one particular training with a bike on the back, we went up to the Bright Angel little bar restaurant,
Yeah.
took our bikes off, and I learned, it was a very small thing, but it could have ruined my race. When I went to put my front tire back on my bike, the end caps fell off
Off your hubs.
my hubs right there in the restaurant. And that could have happened on the 20-mile loop.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I write myself a note saying, zip tie your hubcaps. So I brought zip ties with me to loop around to the hub and the spokes so you don't lose your end caps.
Yeah, that's a race ender. If
Yeah.
you don't have-
I've been
if you don't
walking the
have-
Yeah.
last 76 miles to the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because you wouldn't have stopped.
no,
Right.
I've been running with my bike in my
Right.
hand, carrying it on my back still. But no, that would have been, and those would just fall off anywhere in the Grand Canyon.
Right.
Well,
And you never see him again.
Well,
No.
and they're just like
It's a little
little rubber. They have like a little rubber gasket, and they just pop
and
in your hubs.
I use the stands, and those ones just pop in there like
Right.
that with a little rubber gasket.
They're just kind of held in with tension.
So the whole time on that training loop, they didn't fall off till I was in the restaurant.
Okay.
And
that
they
was
just,
your lesson
So
there.
lucky.
Yeah.
That was something sending you a sign there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you
There's
that.
so many things like that, though.
Small
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
learned so much even during the race. But I trained hard for like a year. And like, it's easy to be home and in your nice comfy bed. But I was going out and just getting out, doing the miles overnight by yourself.
Yeah.
I slept many outhouses. I think I told her once I was down Black Canyon City. I was on my gravel bike doing the bike packing from Prescott all the way to on dirt roads by Black Canyon Trail.
Yeah.
And I went back up. I was trying to find a place to camp, and it was windy and pretty cold. And I went back and slept in the Black Canyon Trailhead outside Mayer. I slept in the outhouse.
It's pretty clean and nice in
It
there.
was brand new. It was clean. I had
Yeah.
a burrito and a beer. Slept in there.
Yeah.
But you're doing like crazy things. I've slept on top of an outhouse on top of Mingus,
Yeah.
for an hour or two
Yeah.
doing the Coconino 250.
Do you remember the last year on the Tour Divide, those 3 guys got caught in that porta potty?
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I
The
remember.
3 liters?
Yeah.
Because it was so muddy.
Yeah.
They were like all like
Hunkered in there.
rotating on who got to sit down because they were stuck in there for like 6 hours
Oh, wow.
inside a porta potty. But yeah.
I've heard of people sleeping in like, it would be like a bulldozer on the side of the road. And they'll sleep in the cab of it to stay away from the grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
all
I mean, that's a risk management assessment thing, right? Are you going to get like arrested for trespassing property, or eaten by
be
a bear?
safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my
Take that
chances with the
chance.
citation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I told Holly
Right.
that if we
You
do,
could probably talk yourself out of it.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, I'm sure not going to give you a hard time.
Right.
You see your bike pack, you're not trying to steal
Yeah.
anything,
Right.
But you do crazy things when you train.
Yeah. Don't break the law, people.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. But
If
You do
it's
what you
a
gotta do.
survival
Common sense.
situation.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
common
Yeah.
sense, definitely.
But like we're actively putting ourselves into these situations where we're riding the line on some of this
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a very interesting aspect of racing. Like touring, it's like you usually have everything you need to be safe. But when you're racing, you're always like, do I put this piece of gear in, or do I leave it
Chance
out?
it.
Yeah, you're always like riding that line
Mhm.
of risk.
I err on the side of safety more. I'll
Yeah.
rather carry something extra.
Really?
I don't go super lightweight.
Really?
But
Yeah.
when I did the 750,
He's very good about that.
when I did the 750 though, I went pretty minimal. I just had a bivy. I always carried my 1 pound, 32-degree sleeping bag.
Yeah.
And a little bivy, a tarp, no stove. Just eat cold burritos, whatever. Honey buns were my favorite on the CTR.
Sleeping pad?
Yeah, I call it the Pretend-A-Pad.
Minimal.
Pretend to pad.
It's the climate little skeleton one.
Yeah.
I call it the Pretend-A-Pad. Me and Dan called it the Pretend-A-Pad because it's pretending to be a pad. It's not super comfy.
It's the
The
climate
shoulder and a
inertia.
hip, right?
I have that one.
Inertia
I actually
X-Lite.
like it.
It's still a Pretend-A-Pad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like 50% there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hits all the
It's
key
better
points.
than
Yeah.
just straight up ground.
So anyway,
But it's only like this big. It's so
small. Yeah, a few ounces.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Dan nicknamed it the Pretend-A-Pad.
That's so funny.
discourages you from wanting to rest.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is a good strategy in a way.
Yeah.
it's just enough. But I
Like,
go
I don't know if I want to
lightweight.
lay down
but
right now.
not
You're gonna be
super
really
lightweight.
tired.
Oh, I know when you're
Yeah.
tired, you can sleep on.
Anything.
I mean, I slept on the Colorado Trail race. I found this nice loamy pine needle bed looking. It was like just like a nice soft bed to lay on.
Yeah.
And I'm laying there, and I'm sleeping, and then I wake up and I got giant black carpenter ants all over me.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'm not moving. I'm tired. They're not biting me.
Oh my God.
They can climb in my ear
What?
hole. I don't know.
I don't think I would have been able to just
No.
lay there.
I did. I was so tired.
Yeah.
And in that race, it was different than the 300 Arizona Trail and different than the 750 because I had to go to a week-long class in Grand Junction as part of my appraiser license I was working for the county in Telluride. I was like, well, I can't show up Monday totally shattered, so my plan was to sleep a little bit each night, 4, 5, 6 hours. So I was going 18 hours a day, sleep a little bit. Well, when I did the Arizona 300 and 750, I approached those differently, and there was not much sleep.
Yeah.
Like I lost my marbles a couple times on the 750.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's-
Elaborate on a marble losing.
Well, I didn't have
Did
any
you
to start.
hallucinate?
I didn't have any to start with, so I must have borrowed some. But anyways, oh yeah, hallucination. So after doing the 300, I kind of had a gauge of the first 300 of where I needed to be at.
Yeah.
And so my goal was to get a little over 100 miles the first day, sleep a little bit, and then skip a night of sleep, just depending on how I felt. So the first time I skipped sleep for an extended amount of time, I was going from, I think I went all the way from, I'm trying to remember where I slept at. I did lose my rear brake for 100 miles during the race, which was awful. So I think I had texted Scott, who was in charge of the race, and said,
Yeah,
"Hey,
at the time, yeah.
I lost my rear brake. Can I call a mobile mechanic?" He's like, "Yeah, you can do whatever. If somebody else can do the same thing,
Yeah.
then anybody can call a mobile mechanic." So luckily, I found one out of Mesa that was going to meet me in Queen
Creek. Queen Valley.
Queen Valley.
Yeah. I know the mechanic you're talking about. I don't know him, but I know.
Super awesome
I
dude.
saw business cards there when I was in Queen Valley.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Up on a bulletin board at the gas station.
So
Yeah.
and we were like three of us like in first place, leapfrogging.
Okay. Yeah.
With the guy who eventually won, Justin Smith from Folsom, California. And so I had no rear brake. I was going up and over.
So what happened to your rear brake? Did you lose the pad or you lose
No, it was just a rookie mistake. I put brand new brakes on, like all new brake system. I had new crank, new wheels. It wasn't new wheels. It was older wheels. They're on the last leg. I put a lot of new stuff on. So when I cut the hose in length, I probably didn't get all the air out.
Oh.
So it was my fault.
Oh, okay.
And
so
so
it just was like squishy to the point where it wasn't stopping
Nothing.
because you had air in the lines.
Zero.
Yeah, they needed to be bled.
And going down, if you know the Ripsy section of Arizona Trail,
Oh yeah.
With no rear
With no
brake
rear brake.
at night.
I've almost gone off the edge on
Yeah.
that with brakes.
Okay, with no rear brake
At night.
at night.
Oh my god.
And so I stopped.
It's like straight switchbacks,
Oh,
with consequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that rear seat was just jabbing me in the butt the whole time. I
No
think I got
dropper?
bruises. No. It's a single speed hardtail. I don't
Yeah.
use dropper, but
Yeah.
a dropper would have been ideal in that situation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
And
have
you're
got.
just trying to not go over the front of your bars.
And Dan was gone. I could see his light way down there. I was like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
And losing time. And my whole goal in my head was like, I need to set the single speed record. There wasn't if or and or even
By any means
why. I was
necessary.
like, I gotta keep moving. So I did stop and sleep at the bottom that night. Me and Dan stopped. Dan was nice. We were riding together.
Yeah.
And then so I was out there. I tried putting water inside my little caliper. I called my brother Pat, who's a moto guy. He's like, "What do you guys do when you lose your brakes in the middle of nowhere?" He's like, "Oh, we tried water." I was trying to get water in the little hole.
Was it Shimano?
Yeah.
So it was like
Shimano
mineral
XTs.
oil you
Yeah.
needed?
Yeah. So plan A was trying to get a mobile mechanic.
Yeah.
Plan B was I'm going all the way to Payson to the Walmart, and I'm gonna get some baby mineral oil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some kind of syringe. I'm gonna bleed these myself.
Yeah.
So in my head, I had a plan.
Okay.
And Payson was a long ways away.
Yeah.
And at that point, because I was out in the middle of the boulders
Mm-hmm.
before Ripsy when it happened, over by Antelope Peak and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so it happened way after pickup post, short after pickup post, going towards Freeman Road when I lost, and all the way to Queen Valley.
Yeah, that's up and down stuff. That's relatively up and down.
Well,
that whole section.
Yeah, Martinez Canyon, the whole Gila River section,
Yeah,
all the way
that's
to pickup post.
scary without a brake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brakes are like the one thing. I mean, you have two of them, but like that's the one, hydraulic brakes are the one thing that
When your
if they
bike's
go,
loaded.
yeah, you can't bleed them, or you can't really perform the maintenance you need to remotely.
Not like a mechanical
Right.
brake. Yeah. But I made it to Queen Valley. The guy met me there. I remember that year I got to the 300, and in my head I was like, "Hey, this is where the race starts. I don't have a rear brake, but I'm gonna get it fixed."
Yeah.
The guy was gonna meet me there at 6:00 on Monday night, and I was like, "Oh," I was all excited. So I had passed up Justin Smith. We left the river, and Justin was sitting in the shade, and then I just pedaled on. I had to be there at 6, so I was motoring. I was on a mission, and I think I pretty much rode the whole thing up this time.
Yeah.
And Justin, at the finish, when he did win, he's like, "Man, Jeff, I saw you go up that Martinez Canyon." He goes, and I just kept watching you, and you're still pedaling on that single speed. And he goes, "You go off and walk." He's like, He goes, I knew I didn't want to get into a pissing match at the last 30 miles of the Arizona Trail race with you. He's on full squish, Specialized. He's like, he goes, I saw that. He goes, I didn't want anything to do with you at the end. And he only got me by 6 hours in the end.
Dang.
And we were together at Queen Valley. It was a really weird race situation. I would love been like watching the dots and people's perspective. I really didn't hear any feedback.
Yeah.
Like Dan came in. Dan ran out of water. Dan was trying to get water out of a cactus over by a pickup post.
What?
Yeah. I was like, getting my brakes fixed.
Did it work?
I don't remember. He came in. He looked like hell. I was like, he like ran out of water. I was like, how'd you run out of water? I said, there was a water cache up there.
Yeah.
No, this was before the big one.
The nice
rain
the
cistern?
rain cache. Yeah,
Love
there was
that thing.
Oh,
another,
yeah. It's clutch now.
There was another one there, like a box. And I seen it, but I never ran out of water once. I never had to filter once. I think I filtered once. Maybe on that one or 300. I forget. Just to filter.
Yeah.
But I never ran out of water. Anyway, so I got to Queen Valley. I got the brakes fixed. Justin was there. And so we're in first place. We're just sitting there. And it was kind of surreal. We're just sitting at this little convenience store there, getting my brakes fixed. Justin had the guy work on his shifters.
Yeah.
It was like just kind of chill. It was really weird. Like, we're supposed to be racing.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting dark. It's 9:00 on a Monday night. We've been crushing the 300 course, and now the race starts. And then Dan comes rolling in. He looks sunburned. He looks like death. He's like, I ran out of water because I was trying to get water out of one of those cactus, those pear cactus things or whatever. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, his fingers were all bloody from trying to rip the cactus apart.
Oh my God.
Dan Holmes. He passed
That's
away.
his style.
Yeah, that's his style. He's like
he's
a caveman out there.
Wow.
Anyway, so he came in, and the guy was going to close the store, so I had got some burritos for Dan, heated them up, made sure he had some stuff for him.
Yeah.
And then we kind of left, and like I said, I really love to have been watching the dots, and people be like, what the hell are they doing? They're like just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, this is the leaders of the race. And then we go a little further towards the Bashas in Apache Junction.
Yep.
And we sleep in the dirt parking lot across the way.
Yeah.
To resupply in the morning.
Right.
And then Justin had stopped in the neighborhood at some HOA community park and slept. So we went by him. And so we were kind of leapfrogging all the way. Justin got around us outside Pine. And so I had not slept since Apache Junction. We got a few hours sleep that night. And I didn't sleep again until Blue Ridge Reservoir Campground.
Okay.
So I went all the way through Pine, all night through Pine on a Highline Trail, and pacing before that.
The old Highline Trail.
Oh yeah,
Right.
The gnarly Highline Trail. My first
The
time
one
on, that was my first time on it. I pre-rode a lot of the course before that.
Yeah.
But not the Highline Trail. But Justin, he's a great guy. He's like 6 feet tall or something. We've been going all night. I think Justin stopped to sleep somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
And it was getting daylight. And if you know that little section before Pine, it's just gnarly hike-a-bike. And here comes Justin with the biggest smile on his face. And he comes out of the scrub oak, pushing his bike like it was like Bigfoot. And he had this stride, just like, hey guys. And he's pushing his bike, and I look over at Dan, I was like, freaking Bigfoot. It's like Sasquatch. So then I was calling in on the MTV cast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd call and do a little update. I'm like, chasing Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I'm chasing Bigfoot. I'm chasing Justin. And dude, the whole goal was just I was looking for him. I was going to Flagstaff that night out towards Babbitt Ranch, and I got my headlamp on. I'm looking for his bike and tent, whatever he's kind of setup he had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just chasing him.
Yeah.
And rear brakes were fixed after Queen Valley, and it was like I was on gas again.
Yeah. Did that reinvigorate you?
Oh
Were
my
you
gosh,
like,
yeah.
Perspective now. I have a rear brake. Life is so much better.
Good to go.
Oh man,
Good to go.
my mindset was different.
Right.
But like I said, I had the plan B to get it. I was gonna try and fix it myself in Payson. I wasn't gonna wait for a bike shop to open,
Right.
or I was just keep on riding all the way to Flagstaff. Who knows? But it is like I was saying earlier. It was kind of weird, probably if you're dot watching that year in 2017. You're probably like, oh, this is an interesting race. We're not going super fast. We're not going super slow.
Yeah.
And then like a few of us just got out front, and in the end, I was a day and a half in front of third. I got second overall.
Yeah.
I was only 6 hours behind Justin. The next single speeder, I think the next three places was single speeders that year, and I was a day and a half in front of the third place guy. Like it really spread out.
Yeah.
Like I said, we weren't super fast. We weren't super slow.
Yeah.
I was just chasing Justin. I wanted to overall really bad. Not just a single speed record. I wanted to beat him.
Yeah. The whole FKT thing is so strange though, because like the course, there's always changes. There's always little things that change every year. There's snow detours. Like, can you really like stack these times up against each other?
You can't. You can't, because I probably did the course from when Monet had the course record.
Yeah.
Probably very similar to a degree, but they threw in Jacob's Crosscut the year I did it.
Oh, okay.
And I was crying to Scott and John about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Stop crying, Jeff. Just go do it."
Yeah. Jacob's Crosscut sucks
Because
so bad.
you'd be on Highway 60 and go from Pickup Post Highway 60 all the way to Apache Junction.
Okay.
So in my head, that sounded pretty glorious.
Yeah.
But then they threw in the dirt track, the Gold Canyon, Jacob's Crosscut. So each year the dynamics change of that race.
Right.
Yeah.
And then John Schoen gets a hold of it, and now it's just
a whole nother.
Well, so like this
whole
last
nother
year, there's
course.
like all the mining stuff or the land rights stuff that happened on the north end of Mount Lemmon, so they had to reroute down Red Ridge, I think is what
That's
it's
right,
called.
and that's going to be the official route now.
Is it?
Yeah.
No
Okay.
more Oracle,
Okay, no more Oracle Ridge.
right? Because it's going
Part
to
of
go.
It's going to go down. You're going to tie. I think it ties back into the.
Yeah, you go down and then you have to climb back up to Oracle Ridge and then you continue. But
Oh.
it was something to do with like a mining operation or something, I think.
Yeah, and plus it's more
Probably.
single track now too,
Yeah,
and it's going to get slower.
right.
I mean, definitely. I liked it. I liked the year I did it. We did Apache Trail over to Roosevelt Lake,
Okay.
which was great. Hot.
Yeah.
Like my one and only bath was in the lake before Roosevelt Lake. I jumped in. I knew exactly from pre-riding it. I knew exactly where to go down to the lake.
Yeah.
A nice little,
The slot.
a perfect spot. Me and Dan are out there butt naked in the lake. Fishermen were cruising by in their fishing boats. We're out there like having a party.
They're like
Took her-
hippies. What are those hippies doing out there naked and
Took our
with their
cycling
bicycles?
kits off. I was like Casper the Ghost salted. It was so hot. Like Reddington Road tested my durability that year.
Okay.
The heat.
Yeah.
We were going up middle of the day.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to Apache Junction, it's that white kind of soil.
Yeah.
It's like riding on tinfoil. It's just blasting you. And the one and only bath I had was in that lake.
Yeah.
Was it Apache Lake or something?
Yeah.
But I knew exactly from pre-riding where I was going to go jump in. Dan was down there frolicking still, and I jumped out. It was awesome.
Frolicking.
But it's changed. It changes a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's just the way it is. It has to evolve, you know.
I know you were asking about the hallucinations.
Yeah.
And
What'd you see?
You went away from the hallucinations,
Oh, I know.
but you had some.
Like Dylan said, you give me a topic and I'll just run with it. And I'll go left and right, and I'll get back on course and
Easiest
go left and
podcast
right.
guest ever.
Anyways, so the hallucinations, yes.
Blue Ridge. Didn't you start hallucinating around Blue Ridge pretty bad?
Before I stopped at Blue Ridge,
Need one? I'm gonna keep working on
Thank
my
you, sir.
coffee, but I'll have some in a bit. Thank you.
so Dan's full squish bike had broke on the
Good
750
hosting.
race, so Dan had to back out. We looked for his bolts for his full squish. He lost his linkage bolts on the rear,
Uh-oh.
so we were looking for it. And it's the original Highline Trail.
Yeah.
You're not finding anything on that first 10 miles.
It's just all rocks.
It's just all rocks,
Pile
yeah.
on top of rocks.
It's so different now. It's so
Yeah.
different from when I first did it in the 750. I was like, holy cow. So Dan had to go back to Pine. So I kept motoring, and I got through the Highline Trail. I've been going all night. We got to Pine for resupply. I left Pine at 9 in the morning. I got to the Highline Trail and then top of Washington Park on the Powerline climb, which was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
5 o'clock at night. It took to cover 20 miles. Took me all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going to work.
What I've heard.
Yeah, it's a work shift.
Yeah.
And actually, I had called her at the bottom of Washington Park, and I got to Highline. I was like, I'm calling in an airstrike. We're going to blow up this whole Highline Trail.
I'm over it.
I'm calling the terrorist. Anyways, so I've been going all night. Got my way to Highline Trail. Got up on top. Started getting dark, and you're making your way. Then pretty windy up there, and I've been going. I don't know, 30 hours no sleep. 30. I don't even remember, but it was Apache Junction by Bosch's when I last slept, the day before. So we had gone
that's so far away.
Yeah, it is. If you look at the map, it's a long ways away. So now I'm up by Blue Ridge Reservoir, and it's that lava, chunky rock. It's dark. there's no moonlight, and the wind's blowing, and I start hearing symphony music. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Someone's playing music, maybe. I don't know. Then I hear voices talking, like they were like in the trees, in the treetops, talking down at me.
Whoa.
And then the symphony music was playing, and they're like voices, like not high pitched, but like very low. I don't know what the right word is, but
yeah.
more
Were they like whispering?
no, more like booming voices.
Okay.
Like very loud. I don't know what they were saying. I don't remember. And I'm going down this nasty single track with all that baby head rocks, and I'm hearing the music. The symphony music of all music.
Yeah.
A symphony's playing.
Yeah.
And then the voices, and then
you realized your iPod was playing. Just kidding. In the background.
can you imagine?
Yeah.
You think you're hearing things, and it's actually your phone's on.
Yeah, your phone just.
So
no, you're having audible hallucinations.
So
Yeah.
before that, I had called Dan to see if it got back to Pine okay. I had a cell service.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm at this little hotel here. I'm drinking a beer at the bar. Karen's on her way to come get me from Rico.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm jealous. I said, dude, it's scary. It's dark out here. It's pitch black. It's the pine trees. The bark is black. It's just dark.
A little eerie.
No moonlight.
Yeah.
And that's when I was kind of still coherent. And then the symphony music and the voices came shortly after that. And I was bouncing down this single track, and I was like, I better probably lay down. I'm getting a little loopy,
Yeah.
and it's getting a little dangerous.
Did you have any visual stuff, or were you still pretty good?
Not
there?
that time.
Yeah.
The next time I did.
Next time. Okay.
So I got to the Blue Ridge campground, and it's closed for the winter. It's April, and it was windy and cold. It's probably, I don't know, 1:00 at night. So I hadn't slept since Apache Junction the day and a half before,
Yeah.
or whenever it was. I couldn't even remember. I'd have to go back and look at my tracker and see exactly the timestamps.
Totally.
Um,
Yeah, totally. Time gets like so screwed up.
It does, yeah.
And like when I did some sleep deprivation, it was like I lost like entire days. I had to go back and watch my GoPro footage to remember
Remember what?
a bunch of stuff that happened
Yeah.
because it just kind of like deleted from my memory.
Yeah,
No more room
Like,
in there.
and it
Yeah.
never, and even when I rewatched it back, it was like someone else doing it.
yeah.
It was like it never happened.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't you.
It was so bizarre, and
Yeah.
time just got completely out of like
It gets,
because I think once you start like seeing the sunrise and set a couple times in a row without sleeping, that's what really gets me because
yeah.
it just confuses me, like my
Yeah.
circadian cycle. You know,
Yeah.
just start getting confused.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
What
yeah.
day is it?
So I was
Yeah.
like, I made a good choice, and I had bought some apple fritters at the Pine Market. So I remember getting to the bathrooms. I tried to get in the bathroom.
It was locked.
It was locked. I used my knife and tried to get the lock open.
Yeah,
So I just laid down the little concrete apron in front of the door.
yeah.
I just laid right there out of the wind, laying on my side, texting my brother. I'm like stopping.
At the Ponderosa Market in Pine. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they got a great bakery.
yeah.
So I stacked up, stockpiled a bunch of fritters, and I was laying there on my side. And one thing I always do is try and, if you lay down for any amount of time, even if it's only an hour or a few
Yeah.
hours, eat. That way your body's recovering while you're laying there.
Right.
You might feel like, dog crap, but eat. So I remember just stuffing down a couple of fritters while I'm laying there, and just ate the fritters and text my brother like, I'm eating fritters. I'm going to lay down for a bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. And so that wasn't that bad of hallucinating. It was more the audible.
Yeah. Were
The
you
vision-
like, did you realize what was happening? Did you know that
Yeah.
you knew you were hallucinating?
Yeah, I knew I better just lay down. It was getting dangerous. I was getting loopy, hearing the music,
Yeah.
the voices. I was like, I better lay down for a bit.
Right.
I've been
This is my
going-
cue.
I've been
Yeah.
going for a long
Yeah.
time, and get my butt pretty whooped on that whole Highline Trail, and
Right.
just getting over to Blue Ridge. That's not easy.
Right.
There's some gnarly stuff out there. It's that lava rock stuff. So I lay down. Next morning, lights out. I was like, oh, it's a new day. Felt good.
Few hours. How much sleep did you get?
Probably 4 or 5 that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a decent
Pretty good
amount.
reset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I needed it.
Yeah.
And that way I could make the push all the way. I got all the way from there. I got all the way to Flagstaff, and pushed all the way to Babbitt Ranch till about 1 a.m. And I kept crashing on those rutted, stupid fire roads out there on Babbitt Ranch.
Yeah.
I kept crashing at night. I was like, okay, I better lay down.
Yeah.
So I've been going from Blue Ridge Reservoir all the way to Babbitt Ranch. That was my next big push. Got to Flagstaff, which was really weird. I was in Flagstaff. Some people stalkers come out, say hi.
Yeah.
No one on my whole ride. Nobody.
Huh.
I was like, does no one give a shit? Am I really out here doing this?
Yeah.
You start thinking like weird things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I got to Flagstaff, and I was looking for a charger for my phone. It wasn't charging. The battery pack I had wasn't charging. And so I was running around like I was like a madman. I was just running around trying to find something to buy.
Yeah.
And I was losing time. Anxiety was setting in. So I finally got out of town. I got over to Fort Valley. And that looks so weird at night. It's dark again. It's no moon.
Like out here at night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's exactly like this. And so, I know Fort Valley trail system pretty well, even in 17. I've ridden a lot. But at nighttime, it looks so different. And I'm looking at my E-Trex. I'm like, oh, I'm on course, but why does it look so different? And my head started messing with me. I actually texted my brother. I was like, hey, look at my tracker. Am I on course? He's like, yeah, you look good. You start second guessing things.
Oh, yeah.
Even though everything I had with me told me I'm on course.
This does not look familiar.
It just looks so weird. So then I pushed all night, and we had to go. We didn't go to Aspen Corner that year as a snow detour. We had to go down Snowball Road, take a right on 180.
Yep.
And go up that Forest Road 151.
Yep.
Which was awful. Because you're going down, just go back around.
Right.
And so I go in these big snow patches. I'm like, oh, I need a snow detour from the snow detour.
Right.
And I see Justin's tracks. So I know he didn't go trudging through the snow at Aspen Corner. I think some people did that year. There are some UK folks, I think, pushed all the way through Aspen Corner and stayed on the actual course.
Really?
And pushed their bike all the way through the snow.
That's impressive.
So I knew
If you have
Justin.
the right shoes.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right shoes, it's
I know,
a real
right?
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw Justin's tire tracks and his hike up bike and go into the snow.
Yeah.
So I knew I was behind him, and so I kept looking for him. And
Reassuring.
So I kept crashing that night in those stupid ruts. I was going on Babbitt Ranch, and I kept crashing to my left, crashing to my right, just hitting him in the dark. You're getting tired. You're getting
start washing out.
super annoyed.
Yeah.
So I'm out there in that, I don't know, was it Cedar or whatever is out there, and I get a few hours sleep, and I had to be at the post office. And not to get off in this whole tangent of the AZ Arizona Trail Race 750, but I won't go into more details. But I did the post office by 3:00 on Friday to get my pack and trail running shoes to do my hike.
Right.
Through the canyon.
Go through the Grand Canyon. So that all worked out fine. I got to the Grand Canyon South Rim at the post office at 1:00. I went and ate at the market, hot food, refueled.
Yeah.
Get across the canyon. Dropped in at 5:00 at night. Took me till 8 in the morning.
Did you take poles, or did you have poles?
No, I don't use poles.
No poles.
No, never.
He's not a pole guy.
You're just like not into it.
Maybe when I was a Boy Scout, I might have had poles.
I love
Do you
poles.
use poles? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, no sissy sticks.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that the official?
My official
I think
term.
4
Freako
legs
term?
is better than 2, but that's just me.
Anyways, so no poles. No, I just
Let's come back to the pole thing.
we'll come back to the sissy sticks. Anyways, cheater sticks. Anyways, so I get through the canyon. It takes me all night. I didn't change I had my cycling clothes on, and then I got down to the bottom. I think I changed into like my tights and more like sleepwear stuff.
Yeah.
More comfy stuff, and went all night. I almost fell off the cliff on the north side because my tire hit the rocks above me.
Oh,
And
Those couple of like kind of low roof sections.
Yeah.
You
I
forget
almost
the
fell
tires.
is 3 feet above your head.
and
Yeah.
I was a foot from falling backwards.
Oh my god,
I got on my knees. I hugged the wall, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
dude.
Almost just died there.
Like it took me a moment to get myself collected
Yeah.
and keep going. But I got out 8:00 in the morning, and now I've been going all night again. So it took me all night in the dark. I saw some campers down at Phantom Ranch that were partying, and they knew who I was. They're like, "Justin knows you're coming."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "Where is that son of a bitch?" He's like, he's trucking. He doesn't want any part of you. So it was cool that they knew who Justin
Yeah, they
had
were
stopped.
spectating.
Yeah.
So I got a lemonade and some Reese's peanut butter cups down there at the 9:00 at night.
Hell yeah.
And it took me till 8 in the morning to get up the rest of the way.
Okay. 12 hours.
It took me 15 total, I think, for the whole crossing.
So did you, going up, would you just go a few steps and stop, or like what did that look like? Climbing out?
It was more so I was trucking pretty good all the way up until I got across that bridge,
Uh-huh.
the higher bridge, And that's when it starts getting really steep. And what they call that little tunnel up there? There's a name for it. I don't know. I almost fell off and died. So my adrenaline spiked. But then I broke the bonk machine probably 100 times. It seemed like I would go 10 feet and I would stop and sit. And then my fork was hanging down, and I was beating the crap out of my rock chalk forks.
Yeah.
Sit down on the rocks. I'd go 10 feet, sit, 10 feet, sit.
Yeah.
10 feet, sit. I mean, it seemed like it was Groundhog Day. It felt like I was there for 3 days just trying to get out. But it wasn't, obviously. But I got out 8 o'clock in the morning. But it was that last mile, 2 miles was just a suffer fest. Man, it was horrible. I had tossed out all my water. I had taken my seat pod off my bag. I was carrying it in my hand like a freaking purse. And at nighttime, this was a great, I don't know, I came up with some great stuff once in a while. I put my Phoenix light off my handlebar and I put it I strapped it to my seat pod so I could carry the seat pod like a purse with a flashlight attached to it.
Yeah.
So I could see.
Yeah.
And so when I was down along the creek before I went Manzanita rest stop, I looked down and I was like, oh, there's a mountain lion down there drinking water. I was like, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll get a picture. Well, then I put my light on bright. No mountain lion. Just my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
Was it like a shadow that you thought was something else?
Yeah, the glimmering of the water with my light, the way I was hitting the rocks, the water. It looked exactly like a mountain lion.
I mean, because like when people describe hallucinations, I think people that haven't been there and done that, it's like they think you're just like totally seeing this like full blown thing. But for me, it's been
a
like
suggestion, maybe.
Yeah, it's like kind of this. It's like a glimmer of something that your brain starts to turn it into something else. I mean, that's it's different than I would say like a drug induced hallucination.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where this is like it's what you think it's one thing and it's slow. Like it doesn't just like hit you. It's like a slow build into a hallucination.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Like it's a shadow. You come around a corner and your light plays a trick on you on the shadow, and you think that this cactus is like something that was alive.
Yeah.
Just for a second.
Yeah.
And then like
you look again.
And then that gets like more extended.
Yeah.
Right?
This was just a brief moment.
Right.
I thought it was a mountain lion drinking water out of a creek. I thought it was really cool.
Right.
And then I turned my light on a brighter mode, and it was just the water, the rocks, the way it was just
right.
And so
have either of you ever seen like UFOs or like crazy stuff like
no
that like you spend so much time out?
Huh?
You know, like,
surprisingly,
like weird lights in the sky or
maybe some weird lights, but I don't know. But so I don't know if that was a hallucination with the mountain lion or just the way my mind saw that the shadows or the water. I didn't start hallucinating again until I got on the north side. And like I said, I've been going all night. Went all night through the canyon.
Yeah.
And I've been going since Babbitt Ranch the morning before. I got up on the north rim, and I was doing pretty good. I was happy to be out of the Grand Canyon. Got back on my bike, almost done.
Yeah.
And so I'm cruising down the road, the snow detour, and the snow's 4 or 5 feet up high. And I don't know how far I got. I got to the gate. The gate's closed to the north side for traffic.
Okay.
And so I was trying to get my stupid heavy bike up and over this, it's like 6-7 foot tall gate.
Yeah.
And there's some guys on the quad on the other side, and they actually grabbed it for me, which was nice. I get over the gate. I'm feeling pretty good. It's daylight, sunny. The weather was like ideal for me the whole time.
Yeah.
8.5 days of perfect weather. Not too cold. Super, super hot, of course, down south, but for being up northern part of the route, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm on the road. I'm cruising, and all of a sudden I get really tired, and I start seeing things. I see it's snow. So imagine 4 or 5 feet of snow on the side of the roads. So just pavement, gravel, some snow, and I start seeing people with cars, like opening their back hatches and getting out their picnic supplies. I was like, oh, that's weird. It's snow, but there was cars in the snow. I couldn't tell you exact details, but there's people in cars.
Yeah.
And then I saw buffalo. And there was no buffalo.
That could have been real though. There's buffalo up there.
It could have been, but I don't think it was real. So I'm seeing these, and so there was no music, there was no voices. It was just people in cars having picnics.
Yeah, so that's like opposite of what I said. That's like full on. You're like full blown painting a whole picture for yourself.
And so then I was like, I'll take a little cat nap. And so I could, every time we see the spot, we just saw it for my birthday up there, we're bike packing, driving down that road. I can pick out that spot where I stop. I put my bike against the signpost.
Yeah.
And I got my pack on still. I had to carry carry my bike.
Right.
I just laid on the gravel. I was like, oh, maybe a car will go by and wake me up. I'll just lay down for a little bit. And so I just lay on the slope of the gravel side of the road. And I wake up. And I have no idea what's even going on. I think I'm dreaming. I sit up. I look at my hands. I think I have my gloves off, but they're all dirty and swollen. I'm like, wow. I'm like all, intrigued by what's going on. So I think I'm dreaming. I'm like, oh, wake up. And then like, I get back on my bike and I'm pedaling up the hill and I'm like, wake up. So I'm having this out of body experience. I'm looking down at myself. Like I'm not looking like here now looking at you two. I'm looking from above down at myself.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm saying, wake up. This is a dream. And I'm not waking up, but I'm telling myself to wake up. And all of a sudden, boom, something clicks. And I'm like, oh, I'm racing. Oh, where am I? And all of a sudden, the adrenaline spikes. My anxiety goes through the roof. I look down at my E-Trex. I'm like, oh, where am I? I'm trying to figure out where I'm at.
Wow.
And I'm looking. I'm like, I'm on my way to Jacob Lake. Oh, crap. I got to get going. And all of a sudden, I just wake up and realize I'm in full race mode. And I was like, I got to get Jacob Lake. I have no water. I think I'm out of food.
I think you threw your food out too.
I'm making that bike lighter crossing the canyon. Like I threw all my water. I wasn't carrying anything extra.
Whoa.
And so now I wake up, anxiety, adrenaline's spiking through the roof. And I'm like, now I'm on the gas. I'm time trialing now down the road.
Yeah. You're 60, 70 miles from the finish?
Quite closer. I was probably 40 or 50.
Okay.
I was about halfway to Jacobs Lake when I woke up and realized I was not dreaming.
Yeah.
And I look at the E-Trex and I see the track. And I was like, okay. Yeah, it was weird. It's just like I was having this out-of-body experience looking down at myself, telling myself to wake up. And all of a sudden I realized, oh, yeah. I'm 8 days in this thing,
Yeah.
You cover a lot of the ground. I get Jacobs Lake. I get candy bars. I get Mountain Dew. I'm like a kid in a candy store, literally. And then some guy sees me. He's like, oh, man, you need anything? I got a bunch of goos and stuff. I'm like, oh, man, I'm good. I got candy bars.
Yeah, I want cookies.
I didn't get the cookies that time. I didn't really think about the cookies. I just grabbed a bunch of Snickers and candy.
Yeah.
Like
Those cookies are
20
good.
some miles to go.
Yeah.
And if there's angels, the angels were singing. Like life was glorious. And then I thought I was almost finished. And I was looking for I had a green Chevy Express van at the time. So I was looking for the van. And I get to this trailhead. And I wasn't going to pay attention to E-Trex. And I don't see the green van. I don't see any cars. And I see a sign that says 10 miles of state line. I'm like, damn it. So I'm on the gas. And I was like cross-country bike racing.
Yeah.
Like, I was like full blast.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a hold of Laura, who was picking me up at the finish. The phone signal's not working. It's ringing like it's working, but nothing's working.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to finish. And then Justin was still there, waiting. He had camped out 6 hours in front of me. Like, that was it. But that was a long push from Babbitt Ranch all the way to finish. And I think I slept on the side of the road. I went back and looked at the timestamps of the tracker.
Yeah.
So I'd figure out how long I slept. And I really still don't know. Maybe an hour. It seemed like I slept all day. No cars came by to wake me up. No one honked at me.
Yeah.
I just woke up and I was dreaming.
Yeah. So Jessica had a similar experience on Cocodona.
I bet.
Yeah. Where I woke her up because I was crewing for her. I woke her up from a nap and she was like, where am I? What am I doing? She had like no idea what she was doing.
Yeah.
Really?
And it took her like 10 minutes to kind of, we like got her in a chair and started to get her food in her. And the same thing as you described, right? Totally confused. And this was 3.5 days in or something into that.
Took her a few minutes to realize she's actually was out doing a foot race.
Yeah. And then she told me later that she was like lying to me. So I didn't get worried. She like lied about, she still was confused about what she was doing, but she was like just going with it. What she was just like going with whatever I was
Until this
like,
makes
here,
sense.
drink this, eat this.
Not to freak you out.
Yeah, so that I wouldn't, and not so that I don't know, you don't want to freak like
Be
the medics
concerned.
out or whatever
Yeah.
and get pulled from the race or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Like,
I'm
hey,
fine.
we need a mental psych test over here. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
losing it.
But I think it's, that's very normal when you're
Absolutely.
When you're pushing,
mixing all your sleep in and you're pushing, and your body's going to be confused
you're
about.
asking a lot of your body.
Yeah.
You're trying to hydrate, get your nutrition in, sleep deprived, your
Yeah.
physical exertion. Like physical exertion as much as the mental exertion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
your body's so confused. So, like, you two are both interesting because you're crossed over into endurance running and endurance riding, and you kind of intermix the two year round. Like, what is it about? And I'm also I'm very interested in this because I'm also getting into endurance running and ultra running. And like, what is it about running that is different or that you like compared to biking, and maybe vice versa?
It's a good question.
The simplicity, like for the running part, I like the simplicity of it because it's shoes and a pack
And poles.
and poles.
And your feet can take you places our bike can't go.
Right. And
Yeah.
you're not going to lose your end caps or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
To your point of simplicity. Yeah.
But there's no coasting.
Right.
You can definitely cover more miles on your bike than you can on foot in a day. But yeah, they both have a lot of bonuses,
Yeah. I remember you two, my wife saw you two on the way back from you rode
Yes.
to the Grand Canyon, then you did rim.
Oh yeah, she
You
was
did-
sweeping that night on the course
down.
for the race.
Yeah.
So we had wanted to do hole to hump. So we decided instead of trying to ask somebody to bring us there, we would do it all ourselves. Another brilliant idea. So we bike packed out to the South Rim
From Snowball.
from Snowbowl and slept at the top of South Kaibab.
We did a little poaching.
We did.
Right top South Kaibab trailhead
It
right
was
there.
beautiful.
Mhm.
Right on the ledge.
Yeah.
Just set up camp
And then,
right there.
dropped down. I think we slept a few hours, dropped down, and then came back up.
1:40 in the morning, we woke up and dropped it down to South Kaibab.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it that early? Because of the heat in the day, or?
Just because we could.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. I think part of it was
The
the
heat.
heat. So yeah, we dropped. We're trying to gauge the time. Okay, from here to here, it'll be this long, and
Down the river, back up.
I think we were somewhat on. But yeah, so we made our way back on the Arizona Trail again.
Bike packing. That's what we did. The
Bike
on foot.
packing back to Humphreys and ran into her sweeping.
Up around Aspen Corner or something.
I forgot
think
what
it
race
was.
she
It
was
was dark. We
sweeping
were going
for,
up the
but
switchbacks.
yeah.
She was about to mace both of you.
We came cruising.
It
We've
was
been out there-
nice to see them out there because I was starting
They
to
probably
get
startled them,
really
huh?
Yeah,
tired
that's what I mean by the mace.
and sloppy.
Well, we've been up since 1:00 in the morning.
yeah.
On foot down South Kaibab, back up, and then bike packing the whole Arizona Trail back to Snowball Road.
Oh, it
And
was-
You know what? That's a hard
Awful.
direction
it is.
Yeah.
from South Kaibab to Snowball on the Arizona Trail.
Yeah.
That's harder than you think.
Yeah.
It kicked our butts.
Yeah, and I was getting punchy enough that I think I crashed at least a couple times in that because it gets all bouldery and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by the time we got to Humphreys Trailhead, we both decided that we would
We were gonna
I didn't want to go up Humphreys in the dark. And so we slept and got up in the morning and did the rest.
and finished off the whole hump.
Yeah.
So kind of two-pieced it.
Yeah.
So where'd you stash your bikes?
The van at the Humphreys, we had the van at the Humphreys Trailhead. So when we got there, we slept in the van and then,
What about at the canyon though?
we just left them at the top.
left them in
Okay.
the
Yeah.
trees where we bivvied.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just left them right there. No one's going to bother them.
We've done
Yeah.
that a bunch of times.
I mean,
where we've,
So literally where you drop down
Stashed
South
them.
Kaibab Trail,
Yeah.
there's
yeah.
a ledge up to the right area.
Yeah.
Perfect for a bivvy spot.
Nice.
So we just
Yeah.
left the bikes there, put our running shoes on, hustled down in the morning, hustled back up.
Yeah, I think by the time we got back up from South Kaibab, it was light out.
Just got light.
Yeah. It was
but
a
I think
bunch of
that like
elk out.
being able to do both things, you can do, running and riding.
Yeah.
You can like do really cool things
Oh,
like that where you
yeah.
can mix them together.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we don't need any shuttles. You don't need help.
Right.
And we've done that quite a bit on some loops in the Grand Canyon,
Okay.
where we've stashed the bikes top of New Hants, drove the van back to the Bright Angel trailhead, dropped down on foot down Bright Angel, and we did the Tonto Trail all the way across to New Hants, back New Hants,
And then rode the bikes.
rode the bikes to 15 miles back to our van at Bright Angel trailhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, it really opens up the doors to a bigger possibility of self shuttling,
Yeah.
and we're doing that quite a bit.
Yeah.
We stashed the bikes at top of New Hants, doing we did a loop where we stashed we did it. We parked the van at top of Tanner,
Mm-hmm.
rode the bikes the few miles down to New Hants, locked the bikes up in the trees, changed into our running shoes, went down.
New Hands to Escalante.
I was going to say back to Tanner. So we did that in a 24-hour time period. We left the van
That's
at
a
8 o'clock
great
at
loop.
night.
Yeah.
We rode the bikes, stashed them. We dropped down a few miles. We did a short, just slept a little bit, did a little bivvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need permits for this stuff, people. So remember that. Anyways,
Yeah.
we got back
permits.
up in the morning after a few hours sleep, and we actually that was the trip. That was March of 19. No, March of 20. And I proposed to her halfway up Tanner that trip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
we were
March
hustling
of
up.
20. That's like COVID times.
Yeah.
It was.
COVID
It was.
happening.
It was.
Nobody was in the canyon.
Yeah.
So we were doing that loop, did Escalante, which is an awesome trail. Have you done that one?
No.
Oh man, it's either way. You got the Papago slide, the Papago wall. It's really cool. It got a slot canyon. So we were doing that loop, and we had done that just in a 24-hour turnaround. So we incorporated the bikes with that.
Yeah.
So you just park the van and go
Then
do
you don't
your
have to
thing.
worry about
And
getting a
then we
ride.
hustle back
Right.
up. We
We'll
got,
do it with you guys if you want to do it.
Okay.
We've gone both directions on that, and it's a really neat. It's a good loop.
Yeah, we don't spend a lot of time in the Grand Canyon, but I want to spend more time.
Yeah.
We just don't. I don't really know. I would like to have a guide, someone to
That'd
help
be
me,
a
show
great
me
one
the
to
ropes.
share with you guys.
And
Yeah.
the great one too is
Yeah.
that we camped in Tucson. We've ridden the gravel bikes all the way out to Hermit,
Yeah.
stashed the bikes, and then the one time for my birthday, I almost didn't do it. I wasn't really feeling it. We started hustling down Hermit Trail,
Yeah.
and
It
just
was May, so it was hot.
sometimes you just don't feel good.
Yeah.
I almost went back up, but we went all the way down to Hermit Rapids.
Yeah, we hadn't seen the rapids before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hot. It was
Cool.
May
Yeah.
27th, and so we hustled down, water everywhere, which was nice. Then we hustled back up, and so that was like a 3-part bike, foot, down and back up, back on the bike, and back to Tucson. So we incorporate a lot of the bike run stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is really cool. And we've seen some backpackers, and they seen us coming back up. They're like, "Oh, you're in phase 2,"
Yep.
Yeah.
because they saw us stashing our bikes at the top of Hermit, and we just change into our running stuff and get
You
our
don't
packs.
see a lot of people doing that, so they're wondering
when
what
you're
are
locking
you
bikes up,
doing?
Yeah, top of Hermit. They're like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?"
It's good because it gives other people ideas that there's more than one way to do stuff.
Yeah. Totally.
It's
Yeah.
not just one dimensional. You're either doing, it's not binary. It's not 0. It's not 1. It's you can incorporate different things.
Right.
You don't need to drive your car everywhere.
Yeah, you don't have to
Get
drive.
get on your
There's
bike.
still ways to do it.
Go run. And yeah, like I said, being on foot allows you to go places your bike can't take you,
Right.
like
Yeah.
down the Grand Canyon.
Like the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is
you
the
can-
best of
you
both
can-
worlds.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think I think that they really complement each other.
Yes.
Running really complements riding.
I think it's a good cross train for your body.
And that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing
Yeah.
since I got into ultra running.
Mhm.
It's good. It's good training. I've always ran
Yeah.
my whole life and got more into the ultra stuff, which I think helped me with the Arizona Trail Race 750.
Yeah. All the hiking on that. I'm
All that,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like we've done stuff like even in Prescott. We got done doing the Bear 100 running race in Utah, and
Yeah.
Holly's like, "Well, let's go do the man against horse. Maybe not the 50 miler since we just did the 100. Let's ride our bikes out to man against horse, do the 25 miler, ride our bikes back home."
Yeah.
It sounds great on paper. Awful.
We come up with
Really?
some.
I mean, no, it was
some
It wa-
strikeouts.
it was just great. It was
It
just
was okay. I don't think we'll do that one again.
we weren't recovered from the Bear 100,
no,
which
we
was like
weren't.
2 weeks
Yeah.
prior.
But we got a 100K day in, and we got to support Man Against Horse, which was awesome.
So we rode 25 miles out to the race. We did the 25-mile foot race.
Drank a bunch of beer with
Bunch
some
of beer with
folks.
some folks, and then we rode our bikes back home in
Yeah.
a terrible headwind.
Yeah. And that road 89 north,
coming off Jerome.
it's not very
Yeah.
friendly to ride.
No.
But
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a short section, but then we had the headwind.
So stuff like that, it's like, oh, let's just ride to the race and run, and we'll ride home.
Yeah.
No driving. Like it
Yeah.
just simplifies things.
Yeah.
I mean, it complicates it, but it
challenge.
simplifies. I've ridden a bike to a 10K running race. Ride the bike. People are like, "Would you ride your bike here?" I was like, "What? Why not?
Yeah.
I'm warmed up."
It's a good warm up and a good cool down,
Well, and then that becomes your new normal.
Yeah.
And then you're just like getting extra training in.
Yeah.
Really, you're not intentionally training.
And we call it junk miles sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Junk miles are miles. Doesn't matter.
Right.
And so now it's your lifestyle.
Right.
It's our lifestyle. We ride our bikes to work a lot. I ride my bike almost every day to work.
Yep.
She rides hers, once or twice a
A
week.
couple times a week.
She's 5 miles away from work. I'm 2 miles away. So I ride my bike to work. I ride home at lunch, go hang out with Pico for a few minutes. I ride after work. We'll run. So it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when you incorporate the run, bike, and stuff into stuff like the Grand Canyon just for fun, it's like, oh yeah, just right there, and we'll drop down to the river and come back up and get back on the bike.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
thought about doing the possibility of organizing an event,
Like duathlon.
Sort
like a
of
duathlon.
yeah.
Like, why isn't there a duathlon that incorporates both running and riding?
And they
right?
do.
Yeah.
There is, but I don't think there's a lot around here.
Yeah, I haven't heard
Great
of anything.
idea.
I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool, but I just don't know how
Absolutely.
big it would be. But you could run it like an underground bikepacking.
You could
event
do like
I
a
think you
Tuesday
would
on-
be
Tuesday on Tussle, like
surprised
I
at-
host every year. I
Where
thought about doing
where you add a little
a little
Yeah.
run thing.
run
Yeah.
section.
Well, you
onto
have
it.
people do the
We gotta
Grandview
do the-
Lookout
the
Tower.
Lookout Tower.
Mhm.
Oh, and
I think you should do that.
And think of
I would do it.
Speaking about Tuesday on Tussle, and
Yeah.
and when you mentioned we saw Jess that first time in the
Yeah.
dark when we were doing the hold a hump,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Dylan's wife, Jess." I'm like, "Can I curse?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. Please.
I said, "Fuck Dylan, he just beat me on my own race."
That was one of my most glorious moments. I know you had a mechanical, but
I don't know what happened.
you had
I don't know
a
what happened
flat
out
or
there.
something.
I don't
but
know. I don't think I did.
like, the
I think you're
only
just fast.
the only time I ever beat you in anything,
Awesome.
I was like, yes, this is my one shot.
I said that to her in the dark though. I was just joking, of course, but I'm like, F him. He just beat me in my own race. Damn it! But at least he wasn't on a single speed.
No,
Yeah.
and I didn't get a flat either.
Right.
So I just got lucky that day.
Anyway, no, you were on fire. It's funny. Did
Yeah.
you do it the first year when I threw in that Skinner Ridge?
I
No.
think I did it the first year.
So Dana, when Dana was out there with, was it Jared and Christopher Cohn,
Yeah.
and no one knew that when I changed it, when I added the 94 miler or whatever.
Yeah.
And Dana's like, man, he goes, that's Skinner Ridge, man. He goes, that's where the selection was made early.
Yeah.
No one expected that right turn and go up that little hill.
Little
Right.
grinder.
I was like, I just
Yeah.
found it by mistake. I was out there running actually when I found that.
Oh, really?
I was camped out there, and when I created that route and I saw that Skinner Ridge, I'm like, I gotta throw this little monkey wrench into the. And
Curveball.
it's a great course.
Yeah. It's
Last
good.
year
I like it.
was washed out. Yeah.
yeah, because there was
Yeah.
Conex boxes floating down Main Street Tucson.
Yeah.
That was insane.
We
Yeah,
plan to
flooded.
do it again this year.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
back to the 94 miler course and not
Okay.
the 104 miler. That 104 miler was
A little much.
it just wasn't great.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 100.
But the 94 miler is a good
close
mix
enough.
of the old original Arizona Trail and the new Arizona Trail.
Right.
Where it kind
Yeah.
of figure eights.
Yeah.
So
I have to pee.
Me too.
Bad. So we're going to take a break.
Okay.
DJ Freako on the mic.
DJ. Wicka, wicka, wicka. So since we're talking about that part of Arizona, you did the 55K run, the stagecoach.
Yes.
Did you do that a few years ago?
I did the 55K this year.
This past.
This last year.
Yeah, this September I did the 55K for the first time.
What'd you think about it? Did it get you?
Well, I did so Stagecoach was my first 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my first 100.
I'm signed up for the 100.
It's
So
great.
you guys got to give me some tips.
Oh yeah.
I think
we'll
the
help
course
you
is
out.
a little bit different now, but it's great. I love
More
the point
single
to
track.
point.
Now.
I love that it's
Yeah.
Arizona Trail.
Yeah.
Love that it's point to point. Love that it supports the Arizona Trail Association.
Right.
And Ian is the race director,
Right.
and he does a wonderful job. So
And it was both our first 100s. I paced
Yes.
her on her first 100 out there in 2016.
I think so. Yeah.
And I
Okay.
did it in 17.
Yeah.
You said it was both your first hundreds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And ironically, my fastest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also both have ridden it too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you might have the course record.
She still does.
I don't
think.
know how
Yeah.
that's possible,
Yeah.
but I still have that.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So the year that we did the mountain bike version, we had the idea of riding back the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had our bike packing stuff at the finish, just did it as a drop bag,
Right.
and then picked up our stuff and stayed at the hotel there and rode back the next day. And I will not do that again. But we did it.
One of our great ideas.
No one else was doing it.
Holly's like,
so
let's race 100 miles and we'll just
let's
ride back the next day.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
what, like 20 miles into riding back the next day, it was like, this
Well,
is a bad
late,
idea.
We got a late start. We went over to the running race finish to see
watching
people
some of the
finishing.
runners come in, and
By the time we got going,
it just wasn't as fun as it sounded like it would be.
That's so funny, but you two keep doing it.
Yeah.
You keep like,
Well, we got to test the limits. We got to see. It sounds like a good idea. Let's check it out. Okay, maybe that wasn't a great idea, but you don't know until you try it.
if we
Yeah.
hadn't got the hotel room super cheap, we stayed at the nice one there, the Grand.
yeah.
Yeah.
We got for like $30.
Our
What?
friend was working there in the kitchen, and he was kind enough to get us a room.
Yeah. Rooms are like $230.
No, like
now.
We were like
400.
four
For those
something.
ones?
We
No,
were
really?
like, we
The
do
cheap
not
hotels are
belong
$230.
here. We're
Everything's-
way too dirty for
This
this
is above our
place.
pay
Yeah.
grade.
They let
Yeah.
us,
I was afraid to
push our
touch
dirty
anything.
bikes in there, and it was all white sheets, and
Oh.
everything was
You know
like.
how dusty it is out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if we had done it the way we planned it, we would have started bike packing that night and got 20,
Made our way
30
back.
miles in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not made it so long on Sunday. But
Yeah.
we got a late start, and we had to push all the way back to the bottom of Snowball Road where the race started, the
Yeah.
bike race started. So it made for a long Sunday, and then drive back to Prescott, and go to work the next morning.
Yep.
Ugh.
Meh, whatever. We
Yeah.
can say we did it, but we won't do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I ran let's see, I did a duo with Jess last year
Yeah.
on the 100.
The 100, yeah.
So
We
I ran
talked
the
about
first
that, but-
like 56 miles to
Yeah.
Boundary, I
So
think.
you did the first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from Flag to Boundary.
And then she did the second half.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my legs were like done. My calves and my ankles.
Noodles.
They were just like done. Like I couldn't.
Well, you did the hard part. You did
Yeah,
up the
you did.
Aspen Corner and down.
And I was going way too fast. Like I was like, because I think like probably my favorite distance is like a 55K.
Yeah.
That's like a perfect fast,
not 50 miles.
not 50 miles. Like it was a whole, I have to actively kind of slow up at the
Reel
beginning
it
and
in.
not go out too hot.
Yeah.
You know?
I did that my first 100 when I did that course.
Really?
I went out. We started, and I was the guy in the front, going up the first hill. I'm like, what am I
in
doing?
front of all the other
I was in first place.
55Ks and stuff too.
I was in front of all the hundreds.
Oh
They
my-
didn't do the 55K then.
Oh, okay.
Just 100.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just 100.
And so I'm crushing up the first climb and leading the pack out, and I'm like, this is stupid. So I, in those cases, just I gotta take a leak. You pull off,
Right.
because then you can get sucked into not doing your own race.
You're not racing your
And-
own race.
And
yeah.
usually I'm the guy who
Yeah.
always goes out fast at the beginning, bike on foot, doesn't matter. You know what I say, you show up to blow up. You just get
Yeah,
out
I
there.
didn't know that. I didn't know that
That's
phrase.
his thing, yeah.
Show up to blow up, and I've blown up. Sometimes you don't blow up.
Yeah.
You test it. But in that race, I was smart. My first 100, did the proper training, but I was like, I can't be up in the front. I'm gonna pull off and take a leak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're super competitive in that way. Are you competitive that way?
Not like that. Not as much.
Yeah.
I am competitive, but a lot of it is me pushing myself. I need to, I'm testing my own limits.
I hate people in front of me. I hate it.
Yeah.
It gets my competitive juices going.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just gotta, you gotta do the ego check and just like, okay, nope, I am gonna blow up, and I have blown up.
So do you do that based off of like being out in front, or do you look at like heart rate, or like do you
I
use
don't
any
look at heart rate.
metrics to?
I do sometimes.
I look
but
at my
it
heart
doesn't.
rate.
Yeah.
It's not my regulator. My heart rate could be 180 or 130 or whatever.
It's
not.
the people around you.
It's yeah.
You like know that's
I don't
you're
use it-
benchmarking against the other people, and you're saying I'm
Yeah.
going out way too hot here based on.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm only gonna be the guy in the front, and I've done that before. I did that at the Mogollon Monster 100 miler.
Okay, you did that
Like-
one too, huh?
I
Yeah,
did that. And
That was
then
my second 100. Your
Oh, okay.
second 100.
yeah, that was my second 100. But
You had to go out and beat my times, you know.
Ugh, come on.
so
man.
Stagecoach, I was doing pretty good. I got 11th
Sounds
place
familiar.
overall.
What's that?
I got 11th place overall in the Stagecoach 100.
Dang, in the 100-mile run.
Yeah,
Wow.
and
What
I was
was
in
your
10th.
time?
23 exactly.
So you got under 24. Was that kind of a goal? To be under 24?
No, I just wanted to go fast.
He just wanted
Yeah.
to beat my time,
of
but
25
then
hours.
you did end up getting under 24.
Yeah, so I got 23 hours 18 seconds. Like I was doing a 7-minute mile at the end down the asphalt. My pacer was slowing me down to, I think I was like 23 hours. I
Yeah.
gotta go.
Right.
And so I was just hauling the mail and I was dropping Amy, who was pacing me the last 20 miles. I didn't have a pacer till mile 80.
Yeah.
Like I was on fire. It was my first 100 and I actually did really well.
You
I
did.
got the whole cabin at midnight. I come smashing in like a madman, and my crew's there, and they're like, "Holy crap, we didn't expect you so fast." But I was out there on the grind, and I was like, "Where'd everybody go?" I was going to Russell Tank,
Yeah.
pitch black, no
Yeah.
moon. That's been like my typical theme today.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff it's pitch black, there's no moon, you know, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I don't see headlamps in front of me, behind
It
me.
spreads out quite a bit.
It spreads
by
out, and
then.
then I was in the top 10.
Yeah.
I only lost 10th place at the end when this 25 degrees out, this kid from Oregon, long hair like Fabio. You see this headlamp behind us on the sagebrush. We're a few miles from the finish. And his pacer's trying to keep up with him. And he didn't have a shirt on. And he goes by me and Amy. I'm like, where the hell he's been at the whole time? If he's going that fast right now. And I was like, it's like Thunderdome.
Yeah.
She started laughing. She goes, Thunderdome? I'm like, yes, Thunderdome just ran by. He was Fabio hair, no shirt, 25 degrees out. Just running like he just started.
Am I hallucinating again?
So he took my 10th place, but
Yeah.
I got 11th. But I paced her in her first 100. And so I wanted that to be my first 100 because it's a good point to point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good solid 100 miler.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's not 28,000 feet of climbing like the Bear 100 or, like a Mogollon Monster or one of those crazy elevation gain races. But it's a good solid foot race.
Yeah. I was looking
and it
at
has
the
higher elevation, so you have that challenge.
right. Yeah. I was looking at the Mogollon Monster, and it just goes on and off the rim like
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah,
And it changes
wild.
every year.
it's an awesome course. Well, when the course has changed, but I love that area,
Yeah.
and that is an awesome race. And now it's point to point, I think.
They changed it, yeah, again.
Right.
Yeah,
When I did it was
I'd be tempted to do it again just because it's kind of a different course. And,
we did Myrtle Trail,
yeah,
and I heard about Myrtle, and it's like, oh man, scary.
I've never heard this. What is this?
It's Myrtle Trail. It's just another big climb up to the rim.
one of the climbs
okay.
up. Yeah,
And so you go from Highline Trail up to the top on Myrtle Trail, and
Oh.
it's bushwhacking. It's not very well clearly defined. It's tall grass.
Yeah.
And the year I did it, it was almost right before dark. And I just make the left on the Myrtle to go up to the rim, and I hear a rattlesnake rattling.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it. It's tall grass. It's lava rock. And I'm like, where in the hell is the snake? That really rattled me.
Yeah.
So now I'm going through tall grass all the way up to the top of Myrtle in the dark.
Yeah.
paranoid.
Paranoid. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
there's one snake. There's going to be more.
Yeah.
Luckily there wasn't, but that caught me off guard and it gets adrenaline going.
Yeah. That whole area is pretty cool. Like right when you get into those pockets at the base of the rim,
Yeah.
because they get like there's ferns everywhere. And
Yeah.
you feel like you're in Oregon for a second.
I know.
You know?
I'm from
Yeah.
Oregon.
Oh,
I
really?
grew up in the Cascades.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
it
when I see
flashes
the-
you back a
When I
little
see
bit.
the ferns and like the old, like we did a foot race in Oregon called Old Cascadia 100 Miler.
Okay.
And it was my old stomping grounds as a kid, cross country skiing and snowshoeing. And so we did that. And it's like the old Cascades, big ferns, giant pine trees, loamy moss,
Oh, man.
moss
It
covered
was-
trails. It's like Hobbit land.
It was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Giant white
so
flowers.
many cool different plants.
Like, it's like out of a
Lush.
movie.
Yeah, it was lush.
Yeah.
So were both of you, as kids, like you spent a lot of time outdoors? When did you like both individually first get into long distance stuff as like kids or young adults?
I didn't get into it until my 20s.
Really?
I didn't do my first ultra until 2013.
Okay.
I smoked cigarettes when I was in high school.
Yeah. Marlboro Reds right here.
For about
go.
6 years, you know.
Really?
Camel Wides and Marlboro Reds.
Camels, yeah.
You
I love
did?
the Camel
Oh, yeah.
Wides. And, you know, experimented with drugs and stuff. And so, no, I wasn't really doing that kind of stuff for a lot of until I was in my 20s. I started mountain biking and rock climbing, and I finally realized, oh, this is awesome. And doing some running, then I realized that this is what I need.
Yeah, she was
I don't-
winning. From what she's told me, she was winning like downhill expert mountain bike races when she was like 20, right?
Cross country, more so cross country stuff in upstate New York. There wasn't a lot of women riding and racing, and all the people that I was training with were guys. So my gauge was I'm always last, and I was always struggling to keep up with my, you know, with the guys I was riding with. So when I started doing the racing, my very first cross country mountain bike race was 5 miles at Gore Mountain, and I was the last one, but I was the only female,
Yeah.
and so I won. And from there, it was like, oh, this is really cool, and I'm okay at this, and I should try it again. And so I kept on going and doing the cross country races with the guys, and I kept either winning or getting, you know, top 3, and it was very encouraging. Like, let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of when it started for me, was in my 20s, but I didn't do my first ultra until I moved out to Arizona, and it was Santan Scramble.
So your first ultra foot race.
Yes, my first ultra foot race. I had been doing 100-mile road rides and stuff like that, centuries, back in upstate New York. And I'm trying to think. I did a 24 hours in the Adirondacks was my first 24-hour mountain bike race. And it was tough, but it was like a 10-mile loop.
Yeah.
And I started to realize I kind of want to do more of this stuff and see what's going on. What's my limit? You know?
Yeah.
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 Do you like the 24-hour loop thing?
No.
No, you'd rather do a bigger
Yeah.
24-hour loop?
I've discovered that now that I know I can do the mileage, I would prefer to not repeat stuff. It's nice.
Right.
To me, it's more interesting to keep going. You feel like you're making progress when it's a point to point or a big loop, way more so than if you're looping around again, looping around. I don't really like that so much, I discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you first start bikepacking?
So I first started bikepacking because of you. We met at 24 Hours of Old Pueblo.
Okay. In Tucson?
And that, yes.
Yeah.
And so that was probably one of the last, that was the last time I did that format.
One of my 10 times solo. I met her out there.
I was out there
okay.
doing a duo, and that's where we met. And we started chatting on a loop, and he told me about the AZT 300.
Okay.
And I decided I'd really like to start chipping away at the Arizona Trail. And I thought, hey, let's do the 300. He's doing it. Sounds great.
Yeah, I met her. Saw her bike as a titanium bike. I like titanium, so I started chatting. I said, yeah, I'm training for the Arizona Trail 300. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, when's that? And I was like, it's in April. This is a great training ride.
And that was in February.
So that got her hooked on the idea of showing up for the 300.
Yeah.
So I think I bike packed twice before the 300. I had no clue
Whoa.
what I was getting into. Never had used an E-Trex. I had no idea.
And all of a sudden at that time we had met and talked, and then that's how we became friends. And then her and her boyfriend Josh, he started texting me.
Getting
He's
information
like,
together.
hey, what's this bike packing stuff? You know, and just asking questions about it. And I had done the Colorado Trail race the year before. I wanted to do the 300, so I got the idea in her head about doing the race.
Yeah.
And like she said, she had bike packed like literally 2 times before that.
Yeah.
And they showed up and did it.
And I don't know how we finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was sheer will and determination. It was, yeah.
That's pretty
I
much
mean, a lot of
everybody that does
things
it.
were not ideal going on out there, but we got it done. And then from then on, I was pretty hooked. I mean, bike packing is really cool.
You're
It's
gonna like it or you're not gonna
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
It's a game changer from doing the regular cross country rides or 100 milers, 12 hours, 24 hours.
yeah.
And going back to your question, you know, how, did I grow up in that kind of environment? I grew up in Oregon,
You did.
and my dad was like, he's like Grizzly Adams. He a big hunter. And it was impressive to watch him. Us three boys, I have a twin brother and a younger brother. And we'd, be 6, 7, 8 years old. My mom would drop off my dad with just his bow and arrow, his archery equipment, and a meat pack. Drop him off. We'd come back a few days later. He's in that same spot. He's got a bear on his back. He's got an elk. He's got a deer.
Yeah.
Like owning out their minimal equipment. And this was back, way back in the, early 70s, and,
Yeah.
there was no spot trackers to call for help. He's just out there doing his thing. And so he got us into backpacking, backpacking the Cascades. And then I got into the Boy Scouts, and we were doing 50-mile backpacking trips as 13 years old.
Pretty impressive.
Okay. Were you enjoying it, or were you kind of okay?
Oh,
It hooked
I'm
you?
envious of that.
And then
I-
of your
and then doing our merit
childhood.
badges, we do survival merit badges where they send you out in the woods
Yeah.
to freeze to death. And so you're making your own fires and you're freezing to death and you're doing this for fun. And then we were Boy Scout counselors at a camp, and we had to go get our 1 mile swim merit badge. So you do 4 laps in this lake. So kind of, endurance thing. You're like 12 years old doing a mile swim
Right.
in a lake, not in a pool.
yeah.
No one's holding your hand.
Right.
They had a rowboat in front of you, so you, in case you start drowning. But so I grew up in that kind of environment, and always liked it. And then I was wrestling. I grew up wrestling, so I was always out running in the rain. And I thought, when you grow up in Oregon, it rains everywhere.
Mhm.
That's just normal. I'd be out running to school at 5 a.m., running in the rain, running after in the rain. It seemed like it was always raining. I grew up in the Willamette Valley in Salem, Oregon area.
Yeah.
Just rains. You're like a duck.
right.
You got webbed feet. And so so I just kind of grew up in that environment of, especially a wrestler, and I was pretty self-motivated.
Yeah.
Always-
Wrestlers are hardcore.
Yeah, you're kind
Did
of
you cut weight and stuff?
Oh.
Yeah, that was normal.
my normal, like, the biggest cut I did was 7 pounds in like 3 days.
Yeah. Okay. All water, wearing the suit and like sweating.
Oh, you wear trash bags.
Yeah, sweating it
Too
out.
poor for a real suit, so you wear trash bags.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like wrestlers are like, it's like lays a base down.
I
of-
remember listening to you talking to Dana
Yeah,
about
I think it
Hardcore.
makes you.
Yeah.
I think it makes you a little more.
special.
It makes you angry.
Yeah.
Not angry. That's not the right word. Not angry. It makes you mean. It does.
Yeah, it thickens you up a little bit.
It makes you
I
you get an attitude.
Yeah.
Like me and my buddy Dave Holmquist, who joined the Army and wrestled for the Army after high school.
Yeah.
He had the right temperament for it. You either have the right temperament or you don't. My twin brother, he'd come to wrestling practice and he'd quit.
Yeah.
He's like getting whooped up in practice. Didn't have it
It's funny because we would like make fun of the wrestlers in high school
because you're wearing
because they
the
were like wearing the
funny
but
singlet.
like they're like the most in hindsight they're the most hardcore people I knew.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd
Super
walk around looking
dedicated.
Yeah.
It kind of made me like not angry, but just more aggressive. Like you start looking for fights because you can kick someone's ass.
Yeah.
Then one time you get your ass kicked in a fight and you're like, okay, well I'm not that badass, but I'll win the next fight.
Right.
And back when I grew up, it was like a fist fight. You tap out. No one's pulling knives and guns out.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy when I grew up in Salem, Oregon. Like I had this. I don't know if there's another wrestler from high school, but I had this like pre-arranged fight.
Yeah.
Everybody shows up.
Meet out by the bleachers at 2:00 sort of
It's
thing.
like it's like this. I don't know where it was. It was in Salem somewhere. And my buddy Jeff, kind of a rich snobby guy, grew up with money. He pulls out a freaking like rifle at this fight I was gonna
What?
get into.
That's not good.
I was like, "What are you doing, Jeff?" His name was Jeff too, Jeff Chipman. I remember. I was like, "What are you doing?" No one's gonna jump in and he was afraid someone was gonna jump in. They all gonna jump on top of me.
Yeah.
I had a brand new Izod shirt, so I took my shirt off. Got in this fight, did my deed. We got back in his truck, and he had like a 1950 like decked out Ford truck his dad gave him. He's just a spoiled kid,
Yeah.
and he pulls a rifle out. Like, really?
Dude. How old were you?
I don't know, 16, 17.
Oh my god. He's got it on the gun rack.
Just stupid stuff, But anyways, but no, but yeah, I grew up wrestling, so I was pretty self-driven. because wrestling's one-on-one. It's a team sport, but it's one-on-one. You're out there.
Yeah.
No one's helping you out there on that mat.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you get some days you have good days, some days you have bad days. And when you cut weight, you know, you're too weak to win a match. But yeah, so you grew up wrestling. I grew up out in the mountains, and then when I joined the Air Force and left Oregon, I ended up in Las Vegas, and I was still biking, running, but didn't really do any racing. And when I did my first mountain bike race, I was late in the game. It was probably late 90s. Bought my first real mountain bike,
Yeah.
Specialized rock hopper.
Sweet.
I thought it was a shit.
Like
I
80
put,
millimeters.
I put bar ends on it, big bull horns on there, and Judy long travel fork,
Yeah.
all elastomers and springs, shiny chrome. But then I did my first bike race in California, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was 28th out of 28th in a beginner race out in Southridge.
Let's do it again.
In Fontana, California. Got whooped on. I came in, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I found my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
then
funny how
when you
that
start
happens.
cross-country racing, it leads to other things. 24-hour races, 12-hour races. I did Old Pueblo 10 times solo because
Yeah.
I just didn't learn. And my best finish was second place single speed, which was pretty cool. But then you get into like 100-mile or self-supported stuff. So I really got into those endurance series races.
Yeah.
You know, like I was doing like 20 races a year, 100-milers, 12 hours, cross-country races. It didn't matter. I was just eating it all up.
Yeah.
Try it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about injuries? Have you, either of you, like, had
Stitches.
injuries?
I've
over
never
time?
broken a bone in my life except my nose from wrestling,
Okay.
which is, you can see it's pretty crooked.
Yeah.
Getting cross-faced. You get a bloody nose, coach stuff's cotton in there, and the coach says, get back out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But no, so I've never broken a bone. I've gotten plenty of stitches from crashing,
Mm-hmm.
but not to jinx myself, but what's that movie with Bruce Willis?
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken crashes where I should have probably either broke my neck, died, or been seriously hurt.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm same. I haven't broken a bone either, but
And it's times where I
I
died, I
got a
broke
lot
something.
more pavement in front of me now. You know, like
Yeah,
I
maybe
got
a-
more chances to break.
Maybe a fractured rib or a hairline rib fracture, you know,
Yeah.
where I felt that before. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it hurts to sneeze.
Yeah.
Laugh.
It makes you want to cry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really cool about this endurance stuff is it's my mom, when I first got into it, she was so worried I was going to hurt myself, you know, and it's like, it's really slow. It's all really slow. Even the
Yeah.
crashes. I've
Yeah.
had my worst crashes on 100-mile cross country endurance rides. Like Stagecoach was one of the worst bike crashes I've had.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, on Missouri Bill Hill coming down. I actually hurt my hand too running. I kicked a rock and grabbed a barbed wire fence and like ripped my hand open
wow.
last year on the duo. Yeah.
That's one of my worst fears is the barbed wire next to you when you're on a bike or something.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
you're cruising down a gnarly hill and there's barbed wire fence right next to you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just like getting ripped along a barbed wire fence?
Yeah, no, not good. Get your tetanus shot.
There's that section after Kelly Tank that you're
That's-
paralleling.
Where I did it.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's you're like 6 inches from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kicked a rock and, you know, instinctively like put my hands out
Yeah.
to catch myself to not knock my teeth out and just grab the fence instead.
Ah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it ripped it open pretty good. And then they like cleaned it out at the next aid station and we just like stuffed it with some stuff and they
Ah.
wrapped it up.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Keep going.
You broken a
it,
bone.
it was good.
Holly?
Yeah, I have broken my right hand downhill mountain bike race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going too slow. And
Really?
I hit a rock and I fell over and my bike tumbled down. Yeah, I broke my hand, so
I've had stitches. There's actually a trail named after me in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
It was 2000. I remember the big group ride, and we were on top of this hill. It was a social trail at the time. And I just started going slow and just wobbled. And I fell over on a meat cleaver of a rock. Like it was literally,
Mhm.
and it almost cut my patella. It went down to my patella tendon.
Ugh.
So I got to the hospital. I needed, I don't know, 10, 15 stitches. And now that trail is called Wounded Knee. Seriously. So
Nice.
I showed her Wounded Knee in Vegas when we were out there riding. I was like, "Yep, this is
yeah.
named after me."
That's so funny. Holly, you did the 125, the Sedona Canyons?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
It was a really awesome experience, but I was really bummed about the changes that they had to do, which I know
The
wasn't
shuttle?
planned.
Yeah.
The shuttle was a bummer, and not getting to do Eldon
Right.
because I was kind of looking forward to that.
This is all these were all permitting issues, right? With the
I think it was
Mexicans
the Mexican
spotted
spotted
out,
owl.
I believe.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's how
Nesting.
it goes. But I really enjoyed being out there, and I had a decent race. I did hallucinate.
Oh
some.
yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you see?
It was daytime. It was, I think it was coming into Walnut Canyon. I was running with Laura, and on the side of the trail, I think it was a tree stump. And I thought it was somebody in like a one-person tent with a computer, which made sense to my mind. I was like, oh, they're out there waiting to maybe get some pictures of people or something. And Laura's like, that's a tree stump. I said, are you sure? I swear. It looked like a person in a tent.
It doesn't have to necessarily be at nighttime. You can hallucinate anytime.
No.
Yeah.
I had a lot of nausea though, so that was really tough. I wasn't able to be as fast as I had hoped for, but it was a great experience other than those changes that weren't ideal, but you know.
Yeah. So on the nausea, how do you deal with it? How do you suggest dealing with that?
I took a lot of Zofran,
What is that?
an anti-nausea.
Okay. Like a pill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the benefit of getting a hold of that stuff from a friend, and so we like to keep those on the runs or rides because I don't know. I think you drink Tailwind and stuff like that generally when you're out, and I think Dana has said that too. I just have a really tough time fueling properly. That's been a huge hurdle of mine.
Yeah.
Still, and I don't think I was getting enough salt, but yeah, so I was taking Zofran, and I think I ended up taking 6. I normally take 1 or 2 tops for a 100-miler.
Yeah, we did
I
the
took 6.
Coconut 250 that first year in 2021. You threw up like out of Crown King, out of the blue, just threw up. Gave her a Zofran.
And I don't think I took another one.
No.
Is it like an over-the-counter thing, or is
No.
it okay?
Prescription.
Yeah.
It's just anti-nausea. There's a couple different brands out there, but
Yeah.
she took that Zofran that one time, and we were both fine for the whole race.
Yeah,
And
after
that's the only
that.
time you got sick.
Yeah, but this time I could not get a handle on it, and I ended up getting sick.
She was
I
throwing
was
up.
nauseous for a long time, and I kept kind of reeling it back in, but it was making it really tough to run. And
It's
then
coming
with
in waves.
him,
It seemed like with her.
we did the last stretch
We did
together
the
from
last-
Walnut Canyon.
Yeah, I ran with her from Walnut Canyon to the finish, and she kept throwing up the whole night.
Yeah, I just couldn't,
That's so tough.
and I was afraid to eat,
Yeah.
and I kept getting further and further
She's
behind.
vomiting, and so now you're getting dehydrated.
Right.
Yeah,
And those trails weren't that much fun.
yeah, that last section, I would have so much preferred to either go around the backside
Schultz
of
Creek
Schultz
Trail?
Yeah.
instead of
The front side.
or going up
Little Eldon
Schultz.
Springs.
So we did.
would have been nice.
I called them
Or
garbage
Eldon, I mean.
trails. When I was
Yeah.
pacing her, I was like, "These are garbage trails."
Mm-hmm.
No one
Going
bikes
along
those
the
trails on the
base.
front side.
Right.
Ugh,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
awful.
When you go past
Forces
the slabs,
of nature. Yeah, they're
And it's up and then it's down and then it's up and
I
then
call
it's
them
down.
garbage trails.
And
Yeah.
someone tampered with the markings. Someone actually put the wrong way where you were supposed to go, but we had the track and we figured that out. But yeah, that just added to that extra bit where it was already really challenging at that point, and I was so ready to be
And
done.
people were going the wrong way
People were going the
because of the
wrong way.
flagging. 'Cause I looked at some trackers,
Yeah.
and people were going forward instead of making a left. It was kind of a mess out there
Yeah.
because there's so
Yeah.
many trails, as you know, out there. And like I said, and that was more. I was even annoyed just pacing. I'm like, these are garbage.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
they had to do what they had to do to
Yeah.
get the miles. But I think if they had gone around the Schultz Creek side, it'd
Yeah.
have been more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's Little Eldon Springs.
When
or
you leave
Eldon
Sandy
Springs or
Seep,
something. Yeah.
keep
and take a
going,
right.
keep
Yeah.
going up,
Yeah.
stay right.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been more enjoyable.
Goes into Schultz.
Yeah,
And the Arizona Trail goes over that way.
Yeah.
They
It's
could an
That
Arizona
definitely-
section
Trail.
was nice too.
It is. It's cooler. It's not as
Yeah.
hot either.
Yeah.
So is it like heat related? Is that like the nausea?
Sometimes.
Is it? Yeah. Because that really is
Yeah.
correlated for me as heat
Yeah.
and nausea.
And then I think I wasn't getting enough salt. Like it was all more of the sweeter stuff. And I was trying to drink a lot of my calories, but
Yeah.
this is the one time that it didn't seem like it was working.
No,
So-
it wasn't working at all.
And normally that works for me where I can drink, as long as I'm getting enough calories, I can drink them.
Yeah.
And that goes pretty well. And then I don't get super nauseous, and maybe supplement a little bit with a gel here, just if I'm not quite getting enough calories or blocks.
And you tried eating some solid food at that last aid station at Sandy's Seat, but
yeah,
she couldn't.
Nothing was working.
Couldn't eat.
But I just was like, I just need to keep going. I mean, I'm going to finish, but it's not going as well as I had hoped.
I mean, you still came in like, where did I put it here? 27th of 140
Yeah, I think I was 11th.
in women's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40 hours. I was hoping
Yeah.
for about 36 hours, and obviously that didn't pan out, but 40 hours. And I was,
It's not bad
you gotta
for
set
throwing
goals.
up and not eating.
Yeah.
It's
You gotta
wild.
have
No,
goals.
she used to stop and throw up, and I was like, nothing I can do about it. I
Yeah.
was just like,
Oh, it's so
Holding
wild.
on to the poles. That was nice to have the poles for
oh
stability.
yeah, back to the poles.
Yeah.
So I did a pretty good hike. First time I've done poles. I did a big loop around Flag and then up what is it, Eldon Lookout Trail, so where the Cocoa 250,
Goes.
the last bit of that.
Yeah.
It was a couple days ago. And it ended up being like 37 miles or something. And I was really like kind of training for Stagecoach, but also like testing poles out
Yeah.
because I never really had used poles.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
kind of like figuring stuff out,
Yeah.
And I going up that, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like extensions of my feet,
It's really helpful because there's a lot of big steps going up
Yeah.
there too.
And then coming down, I would have them for a little bit and then stow them. But it definitely like I could kind of distribute a little bit the weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
you
see
just deal with it.
I can see the benefit of them. I've watched her with her poles, and she's used them for quite a while. So watching her like cross over creeks or rocky terrain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's very fluid with them. Me, I have enough problems as it is with just my own 2 feet. I don't need extenders to
Mhm.
cause the chaos, because who knows?
Yeah.
It's just more things to worry about.
Totally. I mean, there was a couple points where I would get it in on the inside of my foot.
Yeah.
And I'd go to
then
take
trip
a step
or
over
kick
it and almost trip myself.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was like,
So
You know.
I've never used them since maybe when I was a kid, maybe.
yeah.
But I've never used them for anything we've done. We've done some steep stuff where it might have been beneficial.
Yeah.
I always use them in the canyon. I
Right.
like them in the canyon. I feel like you can get a really nice rhythm going.
Yeah.
You get like a flow. Yeah.
But they
So
weren't
I
really
like
that
them.
useful when we did our extreme version of the rim to rim to rim.
Yeah.
North Bass, you couldn't really use them. Did you?
No,
Did
not
you
at
hear
all.
about that?
No. What happened?
Where you been at?
So we
We do fun stuff, Dylan. Did you hear?
I haven't been Strava stalking you.
So people really like the rim to rim to rim.
Yes.
And we have done that many times. That has been like an annual birthday thing for me for quite a while with my best friend. Rim to rim, and then had a better idea of spending the night on the North Rim in
Go
one
back
of
the
the
next day.
cabins, get some dinner, shower, and come back the next day. So we did that for a while, but I wanted to start seeing more of the canyon. So
The non-corridor trails.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we came up with this idea. I was chatting with my dad on the phone
Holly came up with
about
this-
rim to
another-
rim.
Another great idea of Holly's.
Yeah.
And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could do, we hadn't done South Bass or North Bass. So we thought we could do South Bass, North Bass. And if we could link it up, I didn't know if it was possible, back over to North Kaibab to South Kaibab and do a big, an alternate rim to rim to rim.
Yeah.
And so I was chatting with my dad, and we started looking at the map, and I realized that it was possible. And the only issue would be getting across the river, because I was not comfortable swimming. So I thought maybe we could get a ride on a raft.
I'd swim. Let's do it.
Yeah, he was prepared to swim. I was scared. So we were chatting with some folks, Chris Thornley and some other people that we thought we could get
Chris.
some good intel
I asked
from.
Chris. He's a river guy.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Chris, where's the best place to get catch a ride from a rafter? He said South Bass, the beach.
He
Okay.
gave us a time frame, told us where to go, and so that was our plan. And everything was kind of hinging on that. But the idea was, okay, we will do South Bass. If all goes well, we'll get a raft ride to North Bass, continue on, and then once that if we were able to get the ride, then it was game on. We were committed. And then across the top on the Forest Service roads back to North Kaibab. And it worked. The route was possible, and we got a ride. We had some friends that were kind enough to drop us off at South Bass. Went down with us to make sure that we did get across. And I think there was only one rafting trip that came through.
That was the only group that came through the whole day, and we caught it in time.
Sweet.
Yeah, and we explained to them what we were doing, and
They were like, "Where you want to go?"
we thanked them and let them know we couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it took us 36 or 7 hours to complete.
Yeah.
So we went down South Bass. I cannot talk. Got the raft ride. Got to North Bass at noon, and it was
100.
in May, so it was 100 degrees.
May 15th, I think it was.
And then climbed up North Bass, and it's like a jungle over there. It was
took
tough
us
to follow.
8
It
hours.
was hot.
8 hours to go 13 miles up to top of North Bass.
Yep.
Whoa.
There was a small rattlesnake on the trail at the top. That was exciting. And then, we started across the top. I think it's about 30 miles on Forest Service roads across the top. And I think we napped twice.
We took a nap at 10:30 at night. I brought a Mylar little emergency blanket, so I cut it in half to put over both of us. We just lay down on the ground.
Yeah.
Tired enough that we could lay down on the ground.
30
and it
minutes.
really didn't matter.
Yeah.
30 minutes or so. Got
Yeah.
back up. Kept on the hustle, and we stopped again at 4 a.m. I said, if we're going to nap again, let's do it before it gets light.
Yeah.
So we stopped again for another 30, 40 minutes.
Yep.
Lay down on the ground with a little Mylar blanket.
And we got to North Kaibab around 8 a.m. And it was like just in time for all the rim to rim runners were coming and going back. So we had a fun little bit of a game trying to stay ahead of
And
them.
it's like, oh, how far did you run today?
Yeah.
We started yesterday morning. And when I was telling people what we were doing, they were like, what?
Yeah.
It was
You
really
think
awesome.
you're cool?
Once we got to North Kaibab,
that's
it was
cute.
familiar territory. And we were like,
I
all
did.
right, we just got to get back over.
Go down and back up South Kaibab.
Yeah.
And it got hot again.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So we're out there 36 hours, 75 miles.
Oh my God.
Self-supported with one raft ride. We had enough food. We filtered water. We had our bee freeze. North Bass is great for water. There's 2 creeks you're in the drainage you're in, and the water was glorious.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had brought avocado and rolls. We had a little lunch on North Bass in the shade.
A frozen burrito.
And I think we drank 6 liters each going up North Bass. Just dip it in the water with your
Yeah.
bee-free filter, suck it down,
It was
and just keep
sweltering.
going.
Yeah.
It was 100 degrees on the Tonto bench on that side.
Yeah.
But that was like one of our actually a great idea. It worked out. We didn't get nauseous. We didn't get sick. We had a pretty good time. There was like 30, 40 trees down on the Forest Service roads at night.
They
Yeah.
hadn't come through and cleared them out yet because North Rim wasn't open yet.
So
So we weren't entirely sure there'd be water at North Kaibab, but there was.
And well, we had
lucky.
filtered out of a creek right before that,
Yeah.
maybe 5-6 miles before North Kaibab trailhead, and we filtered. We went back 2 weeks later for my birthday bikepacking trip up there, and that creek was dry.
Oh yeah.
But all the trees were cut out.
All the trees were gone for our bikepacking, which is
Right.
nice.
So that was that the one with Billy and Pam?
That was this year.
Okay.
That was
yeah,
this
I'm getting
year.
my years mixed up.
Yeah, we went. Yeah, so we went
Just
this year
him
again.
and I that time.
Okay.
Yeah, but this was 2 weeks after that. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I
that
call it the OKT, the only known time, because I don't know if anyone else has done that. I know people have done South Bass, North Bass, and come back.
across.
But I don't know that anyone has done what we
And,
did.
With the river coordination
and all the way back
all
over.
the way back
Yeah.
around. So you know Jeff Rounding.
Yeah.
So he put a Instagram post like, "Hey, what's some great loops on the Grand Canyon? Something different." And I threw it out on his comments.
Yeah.
He didn't touch that comment.
No.
I said, "Hey, we did this great loop. You know, this, and maybe you didn't see it,
Yeah.
but it's a great alternate rim to rim to rim. I know like the Walmsley, the Coconino Cowboys have gone and swam across, gone up and back. So they
Yeah.
did the rim to rim to rim, but just South Bass, North Bass. But we, like she said, I think we're the only known time to do the whole loop back to South Kaibab.
That's so cool. What an adventure.
It was.
Like to conceptualize stuff like that
and
Like
then see it through.
Yeah, did these ideas just like pop into your head?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
How does this work when you're at the house? When you're at home, are you just like, there's this and then there's that?
She's like, I
and then
talked to
could
my
we-
dad about this loop. And I was like, let's get the map out. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
And you
And then
start
so-
like,
And I got the map app on our phone, so we start mapping it out, and then so it just kind of just goes from like a hint of an idea to like
A possibility.
a possibility. It's like let's see if it works out.
right,
Yeah,
And
I thought
once
it
you
was
get that
going to
boat
be
right
around
across,
100 miles, but
you're
it
you're
was
committed.
less.
you're in it.
Yeah.
You're in it.
Sure.
It's just her and I.
Yeah.
We got the spot tracker. We got
Yeah.
safety stuff with us. We got our puff jackets. We're wearing long pants.
Yeah.
If you're wearing shorts, you have been shredded on North Bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were out there and we know we could do it. We got food,
We thought we could do it. That was enough to
but like I said, once you
give it a try.
When
Have you done something like that before and had to bail out because it didn't go, I don't know, it just maybe turned into a bad situation or you decided to pull?
I don't think so.
Mm,
Except for quitting a bikepacking race,
Yeah.
but nothing where it's a bad.
Like a weather came in or something and it like became unsafe for some reason.
I don't know. I don't think
Wor-
I've been in too bad of situations
not
like that.
really. The
Like-
Pima County Ultra Cruise.
That was the snow, the cold.
Yeah.
That could have been bad situation.
Yeah.
A bikepacking race up and over Mount Lemon in
Oh,
Tucson.
okay.
The snow,
And the snow up high
and
was
it was cold.
up to here.
Liz Sampy,
Yeah.
she was with us, and we retreated off the very top of Mount Lemon where the towers are, the
Yeah.
cell towers, and went back down to Summer Haven because it was that cold and dangerous, and we didn't know what the conditions were going up off of Red Ridge.
After pushing through the snow for like
miles and hours.
hours. Yeah.
You turned
went-
around and
We
pulled
went
the
to
plug.
went
We
back-
didn't pull
no,
the plug.
We went back down to the bathrooms. I know the bathrooms have heaters because I've had friends who
We regrouped.
hunkered in the bathrooms, and my feet were so cold. I was up on the counter with my feet underneath the blow dryer, hitting the
Yeah.
button.
And Liz and I were in the women's bathroom doing the same thing, just trying to get feeling back in our feet because we had shorts on. We weren't prepared for snow.
Right.
And the organizer failed to go up and do the proper
Nate,
recon.
Oh,
Nate used
okay.
on the
I
bike
don't know
shop.
how you say his last name.
He
has to
owned
own
Blue Dog
the bike shop
Cycles.
down there.
Yeah, Blue Dog Cycles, right? I don't know where he's at now. He disappeared.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, seriously.
So everybody
Okay.
regrouped up high. Nate was able to get a hold of a cabin of a customer that was up there of his from the bike shop.
So,
Mhm.
So
about
everybody
20 of
piled
us
in
filed
yeah.
into a cabin.
Yeah.
for the
Seriously.
night because it was
A really smelly
cold.
cabin.
Oh yeah.
Fireplace, fire raging.
Yeah.
I walked out in the living room. They gave us the bedroom, so Sampy and us two slept in the little bedroom on the
And
bed.
then it was just dudes.
And I walked out there, and there's just dudes everywhere. It's like a dick fest.
yeah.
Sausages all on the ground.
Yeah, so we asked Nate, hey, if we didn't want to quit, so we said, hey, we didn't want to go down
Red Ridge.
Red Ridge because we were afraid it was going to be as bad as the stuff
We
that
weren't
we
going
had.
back up. We just came down. So
Yeah,
we said, hey, if we just go back down the highway and get back on course, will you give us a finish?
it'll be like more miles to come around, but it'll
And-
still be.
He said, yeah.
So that's what we did.
So we got the finish, and we got the machete with our names on it.
Was that the prize?
was a
Yeah.
machete, and he engraved Turbo and Freako on there, and it says Ultra Cruise.
Yeah,
So that's hanging in the little house.
yeah,
That's so funny.
It's a weapon, and it's a trophy.
yeah. I guess that's the only time that we've had a
Kind of like divert
yeah.
where things got a little, the hypothermia.
Yeah.
Sets
And then
in.
you did have to pull out of the Pinions and Pines this year
Yeah.
because
was
of the
brutal.
heat. It sounds like a lot of people were having
Yeah.
that heat
was it
was
heat?
hurting people.
Is that what?
Yeah,
What
usually
got
this
you?
doesn't affect me, but when I was going up out of Christopher Creek, the general store,
Oh yeah.
and you had to climb all the way up Control Road to get back to the High Line.
Yeah.
That tanked me.
Let's see.
Did you race it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher Creek.
We go up by Fish Hatchery. We take that Forest Service Road to get back on Control Road. And you got to
Oh.
climb up to Washington Park.
Yeah. Right.
That tanked me.
Really?
I was in that sun just baking. And I got to the Highline Trail, and I was feeling okay, but I was walking the last half mile up to Washington Park on the road.
Yeah.
And I went with a pretty easy gear on my single speed too, but man, I was pretty done. I
Yeah.
was feeling pretty good. until then I started traversing back towards Geronimo. And when I was out there, you got to that way before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in that sun. You can't hide from that sun
Mm-hmm.
going in the pine. And I called her. I was like, I was feeling nauseous. I took a Zofran.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, my energy level was just squashed.
Yeah.
And I don't get like that too often, but the effort I dropped, I was with Sarah Higgins and Nathan from Flagstaff.
Yeah. Friedman.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we were all together, and I could know I was going a little harder than I should have been because I dropped them by 6-7 miles at one time behind me. And so I sat there and took a break in the shade at Washington Park, and I was like, whoa, that was harsh. And it was like 90 degrees.
Yeah, my Garmin was saying I was climbing out of Fossil Creek and I roasted there.
Yeah.
And my Garmin said it was like, I mean, it was hotter. It was saying it was like 115, but it was because it was just not
Yeah.
moving.
That direct sun,
Yeah.
right?
It just was, but it had to be near 100 easily.
Oh, I'm sure. And I was like, I called her and I talked to her a couple times. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to go into Fossil Creek and climb
Dude, yeah.
2 big climbs. So we've done that before. We've done Pinyon Pines a handful of times.
Yeah.
Where we're climbing up that wet beaver road, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
up to Stoneman Lake in 100 degrees. We've
Oh,
done that.
right.
We've been there.
Yeah.
And I was
Right.
like, I got to do Old Cherry Creek Road climb after climbing out Fossil.
Yeah.
And I got to climb up Schnebley. And I'm going to be in the heat of the sun the next 2 days. I'm like, no,
Doesn't
I'll call it
sound
the
good.
Pinyon Pines 200 this year.
Yeah.
So I stopped in Pine.
Yeah. Well,
Still got 200 miles.
yeah. I mean, like sometimes you have bad races,
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like I was having thoughts of bailing in Camp Verde. That's like the spot.
Yeah.
For me, it's my
I
weak
thought
point.
I could.
Yeah.
I was like, I could Camp
know?
Verde,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
So she came and got me, and she brought the tent, and we camped out, and we brought another guy from Tucson back with us.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we got to hang out with Meg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came and camped with us
Yeah.
Awesome.
that next night.
Yeah. So like, as you get older, do you find like the running, you like the running better or the biking, or do you think your like body is changing, as you're trying to keep up with what you used to be able
Yeah.
to do?
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
definitely your body changes and your
Yeah.
mindset can change too. But I don't know. I still enjoy both.
Yeah.
But some days you just don't like. We were doing this loop in Prescott a few weekends ago, and like sometimes your mind's just not there, and it was
Yeah.
getting hot, and so we did 20 miles instead of 30 or 32.
Oh, yeah. We were trying to do the Bradshaw beatdown course.
It's a 50K,
Okay.
Yeah.
but we just didn't out back.
Because I'm trying to train for the Never Summer 100K in July.
Okay.
So we are training for the Crusher and the Tusher.
The gravel
100
race.
Right.
69 mile. So
In
I've got,
Utah?
yeah, I've
you done
got
that?
2 races in July. And
So
I don't know how smart that is, but
So we've been trying to do a bunch of gravel rides
we're
the
going to do
last
the
few
gravel
weekends.
race.
Yeah.
And then I'll have the 100K running race in Colorado after
So
that.
she's trying to keep on the gas for
For
doing
both.
both.
Oof.
'Cause the Crusher's an intimidating one. I've done it
is
twice
very
now.
intimidating.
It's a lot of vert, right?
10,000 feet
And high
and 69
elevation.
miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
So I've done it twice single speed. So I'll go do it again single speed.
But
Do
we
you ride
want
single
to
speed?
sometimes, not
She
really.
did the Bears Ears East Loop on single speed on my mountain bike
Really?
My bike was broken.
in the shop.
So you were forced into it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what is the deal with single speed? I mean, I've tried it. I tried it for like a year and a half. This was back when I thought that all bike packers on single speeds were riding all of the trail.
No.
I didn't understand that there was a hiking situation going on. Right?
Bikepacking in general.
I was like,
there's
how are
hiking,
these
right?
people doing
Bike
it?
pack in
Yeah.
general
Yeah.
is hike
Yeah,
biking.
but it's almost like a religion. Like single speeding's almost like a religion.
and I got into
Like
it.
fixed gear.
I got
yeah.
So
by
like
chance.
a thing.
I was in Vegas living, and I was into mountain biking. We were doing group rides, and a bunch of my buddies were single speeding. I'm like, oh, there's got to be something to it. They love it.
Yeah.
And so I got my first single speed. It was a Bianchi SAS, which stood for shiny ass single speed. It was their chrome, and that was my first real single speed.
Yeah.
And I got into it. I loved it. The simplicity of it. You're either pedaling, standing, or walking.
Yeah.
And so then those same guys in Vegas, we went and formed a 4-person team. And in 2004, we went out to Old Pueblo and won the 4-person single speed category.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome. And so we won that, and I got my first single speed probably in 2000. And so then those same guys, we went and won that. Then I started doing the single speed solo there, and I attempted 10 times solo.
Yeah.
Some races were good, some were bad.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a different style of riding, a different approach. I don't
It
want
is.
to do it all the time.
I think it
but
makes you a better rider
more rounded.
because ride your geared bike, then get on a single speed. You're going to approach the G outs a little different. You're not going to start shifting down for a hill. You're going to ramp up your speed to get up a hill. Or you might be like, oh, that looks too gnarly. I'm not even going to try. I'm going to just go off and walk.
Yeah.
And it just changes, you'll spin out. It can be aggravating if you're racing and you got geared guys passing you and you're like, you just want to go fast. And my competitive nature, it kind of gets in my head like, damn it, I should be faster.
Yeah.
But I've done races where I'm on my single speed and I'm as fast as the geared guys. There's one year I did the 12 hours down to dusk and gallop. And I was only 5 minutes from Brian Luger's from Moab on his geared overall, and I won the single speed class, but I was only 5 minutes off him of winning overall. Like there's different races and different times where you can almost be as fast as the geared guys. Like Arizona Trail. Arizona Trail Race 750. I was only 6 hours behind the winner.
Yeah. Well, that one seems to lend itself really well to single speed.
Definitely.
Like just the durability of it, and then the amount of hiking. And then you look at like some years, like 2 years ago, 10 of the 12 people that finished were on single speeds or something like that.
When I did in 17, I think the top 4 of us were single speeds.
Yeah. So, but like, what about Colorado Trail Race? Does that like lend itself to single speeds the same way?
You're
kind of.
I think you're hiking and walking almost the same.
Yeah.
Like it's.
You mean between the two races?
I didn't do that one single speed.
Oh, the CTR?
Yeah, I did a 1x10 when 1xs were first coming out.
Yeah.
So I did this like janky setup.
Okay.
With a chain keeper.
Homemade. Yeah.
Which it kept getting jammed up. I'm like,
really?
why did I not go single speed?
Yeah.
And I caught so much crap from people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know. Poor choice. I would rather been on a single speed.
Yeah.
But I finished it. I finished it clean. Didn't have any mechanicals. I dropped the chain. And that's when I had the chain keeper on there even on the front ring. And it would drop and be jammed between the stupid chain keeper. And you have to unloosen it, get the chain back on. I was like super annoyed. I even went geared. Because when I lived in Rico, my fat bike was geared. Because they're riding the snow. You can't single speed.
Different scenario.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll try the same kind of setup.
Yeah.
But I did regret that choice.
What about elliptical chain rings on single speeds? Have you seen that?
I've never tried it.
Yeah.
I
think Stremke's doing that, and I was trying to. I guess it's just set up in a way that it works for both.
The ovals?
Yeah, the oval.
The ovals, I think it's proven technology, science-wise, that it's more efficient. You don't have a dead spot.
Right.
I think with the, it sounds like if you have 2 rings, you have a back ring that's round, you got a front ring that's round. How could it be a dead spot? I guess there is. But on the ovals, I think it's more efficient.
Yeah.
But I don't see how it works on a single speed because you're going to have a bunch of chain slack.
Right. That's what I'm.
Part of the rotation.
Yeah. Like it's tight and then loose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't make sense.
But it seems to work.
Look at what Stempke did on the Grand Loop this year.
Dude, he crushed everybody.
Running a 32.18.
Is that I don't know ratios
32,
math.
No, he said he was riding a 32.18 around the little south.
Yeah,
I think he went to a 20.
Either. He just went straight through.
He just went straight through. He crushed it. Yeah.
Under 40 hours.
And the Grand Loop I would like to do. It's been on my radar since I started doing the Kokopelli Trail Race. I did it 6 times.
Yeah, it's part of that.
I started doing it 2007. I think it was my first year, and I did a full rigid titanium bike, single speed.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. The KTR is amazing. I've done it both directions. And in some years when no one showed up, there's been years where Esther and Andrew Carney out of Colorado, they finished it in a deluge of mud and rain, where Esther said she was going through waist deep water.
Ugh. What?
Yeah. A bunch of us started it, and we went from Moab to Fruita that year. It rained so much. We were on top of Upper Porcupine.
Yeah.
On the Kokopelli Trail. I couldn't even push my bike. It was so much mud. But somehow Esther and Andrew just kept going, and they finished it that year.
Yeah.
But there's, have you done that one?
No,
I haven't either.
It's amazing. So I've done it 6 times. I bike packed it once, a 7th time, just training for the CTR, which is pretty fun to bike pack.
Yeah.
but it's a pretty cool route. Self-supported. You're filtering out of the Colorado River, which is like mud. It's silty. I've
Yeah.
broken a water filter out there. So that's a good one to do.
Yeah,
And
it's on my list for sure.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of fun
mine
stuff
too.
out there. I want to take Turbo out and do it. Maybe bike pack it, make it more fun.
Yeah.
So
Where did your nicknames come from?
this is fun. Want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so someone thought I nicknamed myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, that'd be pretty arrogant. Narcissist, whatever you want to call it. Confident. So I
Wrestler.
I think Dana thought I nicknamed myself. I
Yeah.
think he told me that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had moved to Rico, and my buddy Matt Turgeon, who started the endurance series in New Mexico, had moved to Durango. Him and I moved to Rico, and we would go meet up in Durango, and we bike raced a lot. We would go travel and do Vapor Trail. Have you done the Vapor Trail 125?
No. Uh-uh.
Dylan, do you mountain bike?
Yeah, around here, I guess.
Have you
only.
heard? I'm kidding. Have you heard of Vapor Trail?
Yeah, I
Yeah, in
have.
Slida.
Yeah.
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 I can't talk her into it.
Okay.
I did it 4 times single speed, and
Sounds scary.
I don't want to
you
start
start
at
at 10
night
o'clock at night.
Oh, okay.
on a
That's
technical trail that I don't know.
And
I
you roll out
don't
of
see
town, and
very
you-
well
and
at
you-
night.
And you hit this Colorado Trail in the dark,
okay.
and it's gnar.
Okay.
I know I haven't sold it to her.
I'd like to see it.
So-
I just
So
not
me and Matt were
at
doing like
night.
Vapor Trail stuff. We're doing all this endurance series. We're just off the rails doing like self-supported 100 milers, whatever we get our hands on.
Yeah.
Creighton routes. I created the Rico 50, 100. So anyway, so Matt moved to Durango, and Matt Turgeon and I were really pretty good friends for a while. We were traveling to California doing 12-hour races. He's a single speeder, and he, we're not friends anymore, but I think that's his choice. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I moved to Rico, and we're out riding in Durango doing something, and he's like, "Oh man, you're Freako from Rico,"
Okay.
just because we just like doing hard things and doing them well, and so it stuck.
Yeah.
So I started a blog, El Freako from Rico, and it's probably out there floating around. Haven't updated in years, but I was doing the blog before social media came around, so I had El Freako from Rico at blogspot.com, whatever it's called. So it just stuck, and then so I was racing for Hemperley Bike and Board in Cortez. We had a race team, and that kind of fell apart after a few years. I think some of the people just lost interest in it. So I always wanted to do my own racing team, El Freako Racing. So it was always back in my head. And so when Hemperley kind of went to the wayside, I'm like, I'm going to start El Freako Racing. Nobody's on the team but me. I was like, it's all about me. So that El Freako stuck.
Yeah.
And so I did my first race kits living in Rico, and like Dan, who lived down the street from me in Rico, he's like, oh yeah, Jeff, this is gonna go worldwide. And so he was racing El Freako Racing. So, and then people I knew, I was like, hey, who wants to order El Freako Racing kits? So just random people I knew just were ordering the kit.
Yeah.
And so I still do that once in a while when I do a kit order.
Really? You
And
still have them for sale?
Yeah. Eugene wears
Nice.
them.
Where Eugene wears them all the time.
Yeah.
He wants some more. So I've been asked recently about kits. So I'll get more kits. But so we wear El Freako Racing kits, and
Yeah.
it's a scrappy team of whoever wants to wear a El Freako
Yeah,
kit.
dude. Give me a shirt, I'll wear it.
So and then so anyway, so that's where the nickname El Freako from Rico came, and
Okay.
it was from Matt. And Matt's a super strong guy. And so yeah, he gets all the credit for
Nice.
naming the El Freako from Rico. I could go into why we're not friends, but that'll be a different podcast.
Yeah,
So,
maybe another time.
anyways, it's an interesting story. Anyways, so
What about Turbo?
You can tell him because you came. I don't know why you
I
call me
nicknamed her
Turbo.
Turbo. So when we first started training together, before we were together, I was doing more of the running races. I was getting ready to do the rim in 2015.
Yeah.
So I need to ramp up my miles. It was going to be my longest run to date ever, 40 some miles. So we were running like 20 milers, and I did that. And then she was always kicking my butt. So I was like, man, she's like a little turbo. So I just started calling her Turbo,
Yeah.
and it stuck.
Nice.
And so, just, I don't know, it was pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like a little turbo booster, man. Just,
Yeah. It's
But
a great on track leaders. My parents get a kick out of it.
yeah, turbo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, both Freako and Turbo.
And then
anyways,
Dana
dynamic
started
duo.
calling us Team Furbo.
Furbo.
Oh yeah.
Freako.
Yeah,
Turbo.
which I love.
So turbo just kind of stuck, and
Yeah.
I just kept calling her that. She's like a little turbo on wheels and on feet.
That's so
like
funny.
we were doing my first 100K was the Prescott Circle Trail, the Whiskey Basin,
Yeah.
and she said she would run it with me, and so I'd look up, and she'd be gone. Like, where'd she go?
Yeah.
How is she running so fast downhill?
Zoom.
It was really annoying me. Anyway, so the turbo was more reinforced as time went by, and the more stuff we did together.
Nice.
So that's where the turbo came.
I don't beat him anymore though. Very rarely.
Yeah, you do?
Very rarely do I.
She catches me on these foot races. And
It's
like,
rare when that happens.
man against horse. You've got my number on that one.
Yeah.
One time, I was cramping so bad during the man against horse 50 miler, and she heard I was cramping, and I was up there hiding behind a pine tree in the shade, and she brought me a payday bar.
Oh, yeah.
She caught me.
Yeah.
Like, I could see the finish line, and she catches me hiding behind a pine tree in the shade.
She smells blood.
It's one of the times, it's interesting. A bunch of times that we've run together, we finish like Cocodona, and we hold hands and we finish. And then there's been times where we don't plan to run together, and then we end up finishing together.
Like man against horse.
Yeah, that's happened a bunch of times, and that's kind of fun because we didn't plan it.
Yeah.
But we
it
come
just
in together
kinda-
holding hands.
I
and
heard-
it's kind of
Right.
cool.
We were doing man against horse that time, and I was cramping bad at the top. Oh man, it was horrible. And was coming down Mingus down the trail, and I could hear her and Janet Bain back there talking like a bunch of schoolgirls. I'm like, she's catching me, damn it! And I'm running downhill, and I'm trying.
Yeah, chatting and running. We were
And
just
then
catching up.
I get to the
Yeah.
So
dirt
we
road.
just hadn't talked in a while.
I'm looking back. I can see him coming,
Yeah.
and there's not much I could do about it.
Yeah.
I got caught.
Yeah.
She dropped Janet, and she caught me. And I could, same thing again. I could see the finish line.
Yeah. So there's like, I mean, are you like at home? Are you like competitive? Like, is there a little bit of competitive?
I can't.
Him more so than me.
I
Like
try and-
you went out and did this thing.
He'll
I'm gonna go do
try.
it.
I try and rev
Well,
her
he'll
up, and
try to get me fired up, and
I get no feedback.
no,
Yeah. You don't have an ego.
no, not
Yeah.
really. I like to keep my ego in check.
Yeah.
It's a good practice, I don't feel fast. So turbo to me is kind of like, if I don't feel like I necessarily represent that, but
Oh, you have a little imposter syndrome.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, she got nominated for like endurance athlete of the year down in the valley one year, or ultra runner of the year or something.
Really?
Yeah.
So you
I guess,
deserve
yeah.
turbo then for that, for sure.
it was when I first started getting into ultras, I was really starting to kind of feel it out and stuff. And I think that year I did all of the Aravaipa 50Ks. So it was like one a month. And I think that's why that happened, which I was surprised and I didn't know about it. Another friend told me about it. And I was dumbfounded
Yeah.
that I was on this list, but honored, And ultimately I didn't get it, but it was really cool and surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you two are like legends in my household. Whether you think you are or not,
I don't
You're like-
think.
living legends.
No, it's cool to hear that.
I just like to inspire people.
And then-
And
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear from people like, oh, you inspire me. Like, I got a friend from high school in Oregon. He's into ultra running.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, yeah, I watch what you guys do, and it motivates him.
Yeah.
So I like the social media aspect of like put out there. We don't have a lot of followers, but I like to put out there what we do because it maybe
give people ideas.
ideas or make
Yeah.
them think about, hey, stay motivated. It's a lifestyle. It's not just like
Yeah.
something you just do on a whim or, it's like, oh, I'm not going to bike for a few months, but it's a lifestyle. It's every day. And a lot of people don't have that luxury of having that kind of lifestyle. If you got kids or
It's a balance.
it's a hard balance,
yeah.
to keep on the gas. And I've been on bike racing for a long time.
Yeah.
And you get tired sometimes.
Yeah.
Like one time I was riding with Kurt Refsnyder and Caitlin Boyle, and we were doing the Sedona Big Friggin' Loop, and we were all riding together.
Yeah.
And Caitlin, those are both badass athletes.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. They're like
and
the
and so
top.
I'm riding with them, hanging out with them, and we're on Chuck Wagon or something. I remember the exact spot, and Caitlin's like, "So Jeff, how do you recover from all this stuff?" I'm like, "You just don't stop." And she's like, "Oh, yeah."
And it
makes
made sense to her.
And then she's asking me, ask me about tips on the bike packing stuff. I'm like, well, and that's when she was dating Kurt at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, well, just Kurt's more of a master than I am.
Yeah.
I'm like a ragtag little operation over here.
Yeah.
And so she's at, so it's cool talking to her, and she asked me about that recovery thing.
Yeah.
And
Just
it's like,
don't
you just don't stop. And then I said, here's my one great tip, my advice. Don't skimp on not bringing something small, mechanical wise, that can fix your bike. Because if you don't have it, you're done.
Yeah.
You're dead in the water.
Yeah.
It could be a chain link. It could be extra
Derailleur hanger.
chain. Just something
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Like some people get too caught up on the minimalist. Like, I'm gonna go super lightweight bike packing for this race.
Right.
And then it
Well,
bites you in the ass.
Right.
You know, if it's a
Yeah.
roll of duct tape or duct tape, zip ties, chain links, a chain breaker. If you don't
Yeah.
have a chain breaker and you break your chain, well, guess what?
Yeah.
Good luck getting out.
Sewing
this.
needle.
Sewing needle, super glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. I've super glued a Sawyer bladder with duct tape and super glue. Fixed
Really?
it. Yeah. It fixed it. But
Dang.
stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I don't have to go off on that tangent about that stuff. But
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how our nicknames came about. To go back to
Yeah.
your original question.
Nice.
Didn't nickname myself. Despite
For the
what Dana,
record.
despite
For
what
the
Dana
record.
thinks. For
Dana's-
the record, Dana.
Dana's spreading rumors.
That Jeff's such a narcissist. He nicknamed himself.
He's got it on the side of his van. Anyway.
I did, don't I?
Yeah, you do. It was easy to
guess-
find you this morning.
Being turbo can be different things because I do like to keep going. I always am going. So in that aspect,
Sometimes I don't go as hard as she does.
always, I may not be fast, but I will go and go and go a lot.
Yeah.
I like to do the longer stuff and make a day of it or a night of it or,
I have somebody at work, one of my appraisers I oversee, John, he always gives me a bad time. He's like, man, Jeff, ever since you got Pico, you kind of slowed down a little bit. You're not doing all this. He's talking about 20 miles a day on your bike or this or that. I'm like, I'm just a little more quiet about it, John.
Yeah.
No, he gives me a hard time because
That's
I'm always on
funny.
the gas.
yeah.
Didn't I see Pico in a backpack on
Oh,
the
yeah.
North Kaibab trip?
Yes.
Yeah,
That is so cool.
It would. Yeah.
it's fun, but it's not fun. It's
She's
good for her
heavy.
because it allows us to bring her with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we started the backpack, the dog pack, doing the bike packing in the Kofa Wildlife Refuge
Okay.
Yeah.
this last winter, and we got the pack. So it allows her to do the 20 miles a day, but then we'll keep tabs on her pads. She gets
Yeah.
tired, we can throw her in the back.
Right.
And so it allows us to bring her with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's we don't have kids. And this is like, we're both endurance athletes and it's such a selfish thing. And we used to have a lot of animals and now we have one dog.
Yeah.
And I still feel really bad.
Yeah.
Like we try to trade off so that
Yeah.
the dog gets the exercise too.
I know
you
because it's important for the dogs.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty aware and trying to be conscious about that. So having that backpack for her helps.
It's
It's
cool.
a game changer. That's kind of how we ended up. Me doing the 125 this year, and he did Pinions and Pines. That was our trade off.
Right.
Like one of us will hang out with Pico, and then that worked out
Well,
pretty good.
And we don't like to board her. We boarded her once since we
Yeah.
had her. So
Yeah.
we
So
went out
bad.
to last Thanksgiving. We went out to Las Cruces to do the
Monumental loop.
monumental loop.
Okay.
So
so good.
we boarded
Yeah.
we boarded
Yeah.
her at a doggy place in Las Cruces.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. We did our research. Really awesome place. They let us park the van behind locked gates at night,
Yeah.
so we will start and finish right at the dog boarding
Okay.
place.
cool.
Yeah.
So in outside time, she got to hang out with other dogs all day. So that was a good trade off to board her. We don't like leaving her.
Yeah.
We're very attached to her,
Yeah.
Of
but-
course.
of course. But
But that Monumental loop's really awesome if you haven't gotten a chance to do it.
Okay.
There's the Northern Loop and then the Southern Loop, and now there's the.
they have a West Loop, I think,
We
to
got to
put
go do
together.
it again.
So that's a fun one to do. We went
Yeah.
and did Stagecoach 400 the previous Thanksgiving,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
which was cool.
Yeah.
We
Did
didn't
you
have Pico yet.
enjoy that?
Yeah. For the most part.
That was our-
Some of it was really scary,
The
though.
road
The
riding was
traffic.
scary.
The
Very
road,
scary.
yeah, Idlewild part. I'm
was-
sure Dana has talked about that.
Yeah. I did it a few years ago.
Oh, you did it? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
The
you know.
Grand Depart. Yeah.
So
We started in San Diego because we
Okay.
parked at Meg's
Okay.
and went from there, which was super convenient.
But the road to Idlewild at night in the dark,
Mhm.
wow.
Super scary. I thought we were going to die.
There's one in particular car, a BMW. I mean, it skimmed us.
Yeah.
No reason at night.
Yeah.
They got 2 lanes to years.
Yeah.
But it was white knuckle.
Yeah, that's the only downside. The rest of it's cool. The desert part's cool.
Yeah.
Borrego, all that's
Borrego.
really
Yeah.
good.
We
Yeah.
we bivvied right at the sculptures.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the big like dragon.
Woke up to the big
Yeah.
So cool.
to the big sculptures, but that's a cool one.
And Meg and Peter went and trimmed up a bunch of the willows
Oh really?
prior to us going in there,
Willows.
which was
We couldn't
very
find the entrance.
nice.
Couldn't find it at
Because
first,
it's kind of crazy in there.
and she sent us some pictures of where to go, but we couldn't find it for like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes.
I've heard that. I had
Yeah.
zero problems finding it. I just like
It was daylight too.
went right into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
middle of the day. I felt
Yeah.
like I was on a the jungle ride cruise in Disneyland when I was in the Willows. Because it was
Yeah.
just like, a corridor and like water just flowing down and like
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that
is.
wrecked my bike. That whole course was just sandy, and we started in snow.
Yeah,
The
that's
year we
common,
did it.
huh?
Yeah, in Idlewild.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went from in the same day. I went from mountainous snow to the beach.
It was cold for us. We did Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
So the
It
last 2
was-
years at Thanksgiving, we've been trying to do a
In the
different
fall.
bike pack trip.
Yeah.
Not necessarily do the race, go do the race, but a good Thanksgiving trip.
Yeah. Cool.
My feet had gotten wet earlier in the day before we went to Idlewild, and it was so cold up there.
Oh man, it
I
was
cried because it hurt so bad. And we were able to get a room at that bunkhouse that Meg gets the rooms.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah, thank goodness, because
Yeah.
it didn't feel like camping out.
Yeah.
Restaurant was still open. We got food,
Yeah.
and then the owner of the bunkhouse got us a room,
Cool.
so that was cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. I want to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I'm not sure how to do it. Maybe we'll rotate, or if somebody wants to pick one,
Okay.
or whatever, with two people.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
I don't want to
Yeah.
ask you the same question
Is
because
this
then
like
you'll
Jimmy Kimmel stuff?
yeah, because then you'll get one of you will get an up on the other one because you'll
Right.
have a second to think about it. So
Right.
maybe we'll just rotate. So I guess we'll start with you, Holly. Your favorite in race food?
Well, as we discussed, I drink a lot of my food. So probably Tailwind.
Do you have a particular flavor you like, or are you an unflavored person?
No, I just don't like lemon lime.
Okay.
I will do anything else. Don't like lemon lime of anything. After all my Air Viper racing, all of the aid stations have lemon lime Gatorade, and that ruined it for me. Yeah, I can't.
It's like
can't do it
drinking a whole
anymore.
bottle of whiskey or something, and then
Yeah.
you can never smell it again for the
Ugh,
rest of your life.
Yeah, warm. It was always like when it was summertime and it was warm and nauseous, and it was always lemon lime Gatorade. So I can't do that one. But
Okay.
yeah, I would say Tailwind,
Nice. Shout out Tailwind.
right?
Yeah, it's pulled me out of a lot of
And
bad
Carbo
times.
Rocket. I also really like Carbo Rocket.
Yeah,
Okay.
use a
Yeah.
few brands:
I do.
Scratch, Tailwind, and Carbo Rocket.
But yeah, I generally drink my calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. It's easy.
It's
like,
safe.
It's easy, safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good move. Okay. Jeff, favorite post race food?
Bean and cheese burritos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if I have them during the race,
Yep.
I'll get to have them after the race.
Yeah. You don't get sick of them, huh?
No,
They're
that's
just-
Holly.
That's
No,
your
Bean and cheese burrito,
We-
cheese
you know,
quesadilla.
we don't eat cheese,
Not so much anymore.
not so much, but to me, it's a nice treat to have. Is
Yeah.
bean and cheese burritos.
Yep.
I can eat those.
That's his
Yeah,
go-to.
we cut a lot of dairy out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that just you feel better?
Cholesterol. No,
Okay.
it's cholesterol.
Cholesterol.
Yeah, runs in my family.
and we
Oh,
don't
really?
eat meat. We'll have fish once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But post race, yeah, bean and cheese burrito. When we got done with Cocodona 250, and Matt and Carrie, our crew, was taking us back to the camper, and we went past a Mexican place here in
Like
Flagstaff.
Filiberto's or something.
I said, Matt, pull over. I want a bean and cheese burrito. He thought I was joking. He just drove right by.
Yeah.
He's like, no
Nothing
way.
else was really
Possible.
open at that point.
It's like 10 o'clock at
10:30,
night. Yeah.
All week long, we had
Impossible burgers.
It was Beyond Burgers
Yeah.
and the Soon ramen noodles. Like every time we would rest, that's what we ate.
That's what
Yeah.
Carrie and Matt were making for us.
And that's what we ended up having that night too, which was
After the
fine.
race.
But
Of all
Yeah.
foods. I'm like, come on. Bean and cheese burrito, please. No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Okay. What's your spirit animal?
dog. I think a dog.
Nice.
Because
Yep.
I think of myself as an underdog,
Okay.
but also we love dogs.
Al.
Yeah. And dogs are kind of scrappy and
Yeah.
loyal.
mostly.
Yeah, I would say dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got yours from the Pinions and Pines recap. The
That's
owl.
right. We were talking about
Yeah.
that. I had to think for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's on my arm.
Yeah.
Ow.
Like, dude, how was that not top of mind? You have
You caught me off
you have
guard.
a whole arm tattoo.
You caught me off guard. It
Yeah.
was covered up too. I know.
Can I also add about spirit animal or something like that? Butterflies. I love butterflies.
Okay.
I don't know if that's my spirit animal, but I love that they are, start on the chrysalis and then they change because we're always changing. So I kind of think of butterflies too as like they metamorphosize, and I feel like we are constantly evolving and changing. So
Yeah.
I kind of relate
Yeah, people change.
to that.
Just
Yeah.
like, they go through their stages like
Yeah.
life. You go, different relationships, different phases you go through in life.
Yeah.
Different maybe career
What's your spirit
choices.
animal?
Friends
Yeah.
come and go. Family can come and go. So you're always changing. Things are always changing.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why I could never get a tattoo. Because I'm always changing.
Yeah.
I can't commit to something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to have a different opinion or whatever.
I
Yeah.
got, of the tattoos I have, I don't have a lot, but half dozen. There's not one I regret.
You still stand by it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because they're all stuff
Stories.
that means something to
Your
me.
timeline. To me, they're like a timeline of all of the experiences that I've had,
Yeah.
like reminders and things like that. That's how I see mine.
Yeah.
Well, I got the
Yeah.
Arizona Trail 750 tattoo
you?
on my leg.
Yeah. If I finished it the time I started it,
You
that would
would've.
have been the one I was going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my tattoo
So-
guy designed the Arizona Trail emblem
Oh, really?
with some saguaros and then actually my time's on there. Someone's like, "What if you go do it again and beat your time?"
Scratch it off.
I said, "I'll just put a line through it and put the new time."
Yeah, right.
But I said, "I'm
Right.
not going back."
Right.
So I don't have to worry about it.
Now you're pretty confirmed on that.
I'm good with
it's
that
not
one.
happening again. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'd probably be good with it.
I'm a
if
firm believer of, I've done stuff. I've repeated a bunch of stuff before. Caterpillar Trail Race, Vapor Trail, Old Pueblo, single speed solo. But there's other things like big ones like that where you got through it pretty clean,
Yeah.
unscathed.
Yeah.
It went well enough. Why go
Leave
back
it.
and do
Leave
it?
well enough alone.
Right.
Like CTR.
Well, it's such a time commitment. I want to do something else with that time. If
Yeah.
I'm going to take
There's
like
more.
14
So many
days
things
off
to
or whatever.
do.
Yeah.
I know.
Different things
Yeah.
that we all want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much fun stuff to do out there.
I mean, these local ones I'll do like Verde Valley Randonnée. It's a weekend effort. It's
Yeah.
a 24-hour race.
Yeah.
Like I'll do it as many times as I can because it's fast,
Yeah.
but it's not a huge commitment.
Do you recommend that one? Because we would like to do that one. Is good.
I think the fall is better
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm thinking too.
for like animals and sightseeing and like the
Weather.
leaves changing and the weather and
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
I think the fall is probably ideal because I've done it 2 or 3 times in the fall and 1 time in the spring, and I just like the environment
Yeah.
in the fall better.
Yeah. I love the
So
fall.
there's like turkeys and elk rutting, and it just
Yeah.
really is really cool time of year.
Have you done
Yeah.
the Raz yet?
No,
Did Dana sell you on it?
he pretty much which bike to.
Ride a mountain bike.
Yeah, ride a
Yep.
mountain bike.
And I already kind of figured
done
that would
part
be
of the-
for me too.
We had
Yeah.
done part of the course, the Seligman Ash Fork area,
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
and the Sutter bumps was big as ocean waves.
Really?
When we,
Yeah.
It's
gnarly.
Yeah.
I would do mountain bike. And we
Yeah.
had mountain bikes that time doing
Yeah.
that bike packing loop up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Billy did it on the
He did the other direction, right?
east to west.
Yeah.
On a
with some-
cross bike.
on his
Gravel,
bike, and he liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing it as a kind of a duo, and then Jess and I could, I'm trying to get her into distance biking.
Yeah.
A little more. We could do a duo, and then we could just trade
Kind
off
of
on
like
the
Minnie
vehicle.
and Craig do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
why,
a great
that's why I
idea.
suggested to Holly if we wanted to do it and bring Pico, we could just drive the van and we could take turns just.
Yep. And then you can do whatever distances you each feel like
And you have-
doing.
Yeah.
And you have a base camp on wheels.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
But
That
I feel
seems
like
the
I'd
way
be
to do it.
missing. I don't want to miss out on the. I feel like I'm not doing the full
Like-
mileage.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my.
Yeah.
Why I don't.
Or we just go
know if
both
I
do
wanna
it
do
and we
it
just
that
get
way.
dropped off and picked
Yeah.
up.
I think the thing that I learned with Jess and doing ultra sports and stuff is like, it's such a selfish endeavor that we actually like grew apart there for a little while because like she was just training so hard for Cocodona,
doing her thing.
Yeah.
and I was training so hard for my bikepacking races, and we
You're
actually
riding,
like,
she's running.
never saw each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually like was a detriment to our relationship, you
Yeah.
know? And so we're trying to do things where, okay, we're going to cross over a little bit. I'm intentionally running more so we can do like the duos and stuff together.
Yeah.
And that's why I admire both of you so much is you're constantly doing these things together.
And that's
And
Yeah.
you're doing your independent
that's
stuff.
a good point because my previous relationship, it was all about me, what I wanted to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part,
It deteriorated somewhat because of that.
you can just do your own thing.
Yeah.
And I was so focused on racing, bike pack racing. And like, who wants to leave, go out and bike pack training? You have to commit. Like when I was training for the Arizona Trail Race, that takes a lot of commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing my due diligence. I was out bike packing all the time and just, I was very focused. So when the race did come, I was prime, peak, perfect.
Yeah.
But you have to spend a lot of time away from your partner.
Yeah.
If they're not doing it.
If they're not doing it, and you can incorporate that a little bit, but if they don't want to do it, then you can't make them.
Yeah.
So you
Right.
spend a lot of time doing your thing.
Right.
And I'm pretty selfish at times, so it's all about what I want to do.
Right. Yeah. And that's a strain. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a strain on a relationship.
Yeah.
And then if you have kids, I don't even know how those
I
people
know.
do it.
Oh, now you would do it.
Like-
Yeah.
One person's definitely sacrificing something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're definitely sacrificing. And so us doing the stuff together,
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It makes it more.
And sometimes you're not always clicking on the same cylinder.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like doing that,
Yeah.
or I'm tired, or I don't want
Right.
to do that, or
That
you know,
race doesn't sound good to me.
and we do so
or-
much stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I've been on the gas for a long time doing bike racing and a lot of ultra running, and
Yeah.
it can wear on you.
Yeah.
Or
Totally.
sometimes you're like, I just want to take a break. And we drive so much. I mean, we live in a van half the time.
Right.
We work full-time jobs.
Yeah.
We're out trying to train. It takes a lot. I can't imagine having kids or how people have kids and do this.
Yeah.
But the relationship's going to strain, like you're saying. With kids, someone's got to take care of the kids.
Yeah.
You can't both do the racing.
You can, but I think that's a whole nother super delicate balance.
Who's going to do that? Yeah, you got housework. You got maintenance on the yard. I mean, there's so much small things in life that take a lot of time. I find my list is long, and we have a small house. You're fixing something on the camper.
There's always something.
I put a mini split in last Monday on the
Yeah.
Sweet.
house.
Yeah.
Those are awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Those are
love it.
amazing.
Holly
Yeah.
talked me into it. But I just put that in. So it's 6 hours of your life right there.
Yeah.
I'm like a super handyman, I call myself. I'm putting a breaker in the panel for a dedicated line for the mini split. I put a new ceiling fan in the bathroom in the camper last night before dark. Like you're
Yeah.
always doing something.
Yeah.
Like it's always something small.
Yeah.
It just, the list is always this long.
Yeah.
Yes,
But you're making it. You like that. Don't, that's like,
I do.
you would go nuts if you didn't have a list.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
My job gets in the way of my list.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Same work. That government job.
I know, tell
So,
you.
like, you guys are evolving right now, you're
Yeah.
saying, and trying to find that happy medium.
Right. I asked her, like, I mean, the Cocodona commitment alone, 2 years in a row was like
Yeah.
a big strain. And she really trained and went all in to make sure she could finish
Yeah.
and committed to it, because
Yeah.
the first year, it was, who
Well, that's-
knows?
that's
you
my-
learn so much.
So that's my
Yeah.
question, though. Is that why she did it a second time? Because she thought she could do it better,
Yeah.
faster? Because she learned so much the first time?
from it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been bit by that bug where you do something and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I could actually shave off a day off of that.
I do this, and
Yeah.
this, and
I
don't
get
do
better
that.
at it.
Well, if you
Yeah.
did Cocodona 250, there's things I would definitely, we
Yeah,
talked
we
about.
learned. We haven't been able to apply what we've learned to another 200 miler, but
Yeah.
I would approach it more like a bikepacking race.
How do you mean?
Like in terms of when to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
We left the course once
we
to go sleep.
Right.
we discovered that it's probably best to just sleep when you're tired. We had set places we had to get to.
So we were pushing 20,
Our
24
crew
hours.
was going to be at point B, and we had to get there no matter what.
To
That's where we had to be to before we could sleep, and that made it real tough at times when we got tired. Especially me, I had a couple of meltdowns because I was so tired and I just wanted to lay down, but we had to keep going because we had to get to. Our friends had the camper, and that's what we were sleeping in.
Ugh, that's a horrible feeling.
But it was new to all of us,
Right.
And so we
were getting a couple hours of sleep at a time. I think we slept
Yeah.
12 hours in the whole 250. Not a
Dang.
lot,
yeah.
but just enough to get you through.
Yeah.
But the things that we learned, it would be great to apply those at another time to another 200 miler.
Yeah.
So what I would do, like I said, treat it more like bike packing. Like when you're tired,
Just lay down in the dirt.
Have enough stuff to be able to just like put on a puffy and lay down in the dirt. Take a trail nap.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is what Jess learned and was able to apply this time.
Yeah, she cut a lot of sleep. She actually had way more efficient sleep. She so she did less sleep, but it was like more efficient, better recovering sleep.
More beneficial.
Yeah. So she like brought an eye mask and earplugs and like
really like, set it up for success.
Yeah. And so she did sleep less. She also spent less time in aid stations. I think that's the aid stations, and in bike packing, like the resupply can be the suck.
Yep.
It can suck you in, you know.
Get in, get out.
It was so hot. And we went to Sedona and up Kastner Mountain.
Yeah.
Not Kastner Canyon.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
We went up Kastner Mountain.
We went up Kastner Mountain.
Up
the
to
switchbacks.
Yeah.
Up to Turkey Flats and Cinder Pit in the back, the awful
dirt
way
road
into Fort Tuttle.
The same way that Dana had us go down for Pinions and Pines.
Yeah.
We went up that.
But it was great at that time. When we did the Cocodona 250, they had graded the road.
Okay.
It was the best we've ever seen
right,
it.
because they were doing all that construction.
Yeah, but it was super hot. It was,
but now it's back to its former self.
Right. Moon dust, garbage,
rutted,
loose,
washed out.
Awful.
That's
sketchy.
Funny.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the
Rapid
questions.
Fire.
That was a good tangent though. Endurance superpower.
Endurance superpower.
What's your endurance superpower?
Wow, that's a good question. If it's like an A race to me, then my mental fortitude can be spot on. And that's what you need. It's as much mental as physical at times. I mean, all the time.
Yeah.
Because if your mind goes sideways, then you lose interest. I don't get bored out there, but you get fatigued.
Yeah, it's hard to keep going. If your head's not in it, doesn't matter what your body's got.
The mental fortitude. Like when I did this 750 race, there wasn't one time where I was like, this sucks, I'm going to quit. Like mentally, I went to it physically perfect in my head and mentally. Like if your mental fortitude is spot on, and that's where it comes in your training, you know. And it sounds cliche, but I've always said you gotta go out there and train and be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And people throw that out there a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm a true believer of it. If you're out there in the weeds and you're sleeping and you're scared by yourself and it just sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I was training for the 300 when I lived up in Rico, and I was out there in the snow in 18 degrees on the west end of the county, sleeping 18 degrees with every bit of my clothes on, freezing.
Yeah.
And you're out there like, oh, this sucks, but I'm having fun.
Yeah. It resets your perspective.
It makes you mentally strong. So when you're out there and it really sucks, you already been through it. Yeah. You've already trained for it. You've been out there doing it by yourself. You know, like I said, it's easy to stay home and stay in your bed at night. It's harder to get out there and be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there was a quote that was like some boxer or something. He said it's hard to get out of bed when you sleep in silk sheets or something like that.
Yeah.
like when you get when boxers get rich, it gets difficult to stay like gritty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Stay hard.
Yeah. So
it's like bike packing, you know, and ultra running, or doing stuff like we were talking about the alternate rim to rim to rim, when you go get across that river and you gotta be mentally sound to go do that loop.
Mm-hmm.
If you get mentally unsound, no one's coming to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy's not coming.
Yeah, that's a layer that I've seen people not cross. I've seen people fall apart at that point, you know, and I've seen people go through it.
Or the concept of doing something sounds great on paper, but they're like, no, and they never go do it.
Yeah.
Because they scared themselves.
Yeah.
They talk themselves out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. We have a PMA. We both got the PMA tattoo, which is positive mental attitude.
Yeah. Okay.
And Meg gave us those tattoos after we finished Stagecoach.
Okay.
Which was pretty awesome because it turns out her and Peter have PMA as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't get hit by a car.
Yeah.
PMA.
Yeah. Well, this is my little reminder when I'm out there.
When you're in the suck.
Yeah.
Hey,
I chose this.
PMA.
This is my choice to be out here. I don't have to be out here.
And our friend Ashley up in Dolores, Colorado, she's been using that PMA term for a long time. You know Ashley?
No.
Okay. She's a a big endurance racer, mostly gravel races. She goes
Yeah.
all over the world in races.
Yeah.
She uses PMA, and another good one is relentless forward progression.
Okay.
RFP.
Yeah.
Anyways,
PMA. So my version of PMA. Have you heard of Jocko Willink?
Yeah.
He's a podcaster, and
Yeah.
he's got a whole thing on YouTube, but he basically just says good, like this bad thing's happening to you. You broke something on your bike, or you got a flat tire, or you're dehydrated. Like good, like you learned something from
Yeah.
that,
This is a lesson.
right? Yeah, this is a lesson.
How do you handle it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and somebody comes to you with a problem, or like an employee or something comes to you with a problem, and they say, you know, boss, I got this thing that's happening, and you say good, and they're like, what do you mean good?
Yeah.
like good. Well, you know, you learned, or it taught you something basically.
Yeah.
At the end of it, you know,
Huh.
and it's just kind of that like mentality of like
interesting.
spin everything positively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And seems like that's people that can't do that self-destruct on endurance
Yeah.
races and rides.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Easy to self-destruct.
Yeah.
yeah. So you guys look down because you have it tattooed on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constant reminder.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you only live once, man.
Except for when you're throwing up and you're looking at it.
No,
Still
there's
kind of
no
having
PMA.
fun, but
I'm trying really hard here.
well, there was still no point for the Sedona. There was still at no point where I thought I'm going to quit. Never crossed my mind. There was no way. I had full intentions of continuing on no matter what.
Do you actually, when you're thinking that through, are you visualizing yourself finishing?
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
Like, do you play it out in your mind of you crossing the finish line?
Yeah. Yeah.
And does that help you?
Yeah. I mean, I learned that from rock climbing.
Okay.
You know, visualize yourself clipping the anchors when you're doing a lead climb. You know, and if you whether you've done it or not before, when you're doing a lead climb, it's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
It's scary. You could fall, you could get hurt, but you know, you're visualizing yourself making the moves, clipping the draws, and then when you know you finish, you're clipping the anchors, and you visualize that happening, and I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like practicing.
Yep.
It's like mind practice.
Yeah.
you
Or
know?
crossing the finish line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've tried to deploy that on the last few things, like, I don't know, specifically getting through that Fossil Creek section on pinions.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty much self-destructing, but Sarah Didier was self-destructing worse than me. And, you know, it was like, oh, this isn't so bad. like
I'm doing a little bit better.
I didn't want to be at her expense, but like,
Right.
honestly, it made me feel a little better. Like, it always feels a little better when you're like, okay, I'm doing better than that person.
You don't have to tell them that. but-
Well, yeah, I mean, she'll
Yeah.
hear this. Sorry, Sarah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, and I had some strategies that, like, keeping myself wet, and like I prepared for
Oh,
the heat.
yeah.
You know, like,
Getting wet.
yeah, and wearing a sun hoodie, and like
Yeah.
I brought extra water from Fossil Creek to like pour on myself, and then I was like, just get to the McDonald's so I can get ice cream in Camp Verde.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the carrot, right? That's the reward.
And then their ice cream machine was broken. But,
Oh.
yeah.
A bummer.
Yeah, which I was pretty sad about. And then I just like lingered around McDonald's for like 2 hours until the sun went down behind Mingus. And
Yeah.
people were catching up to me, but I was like, I don't care. I'm not going to go roast.
Gotta race your own race.
Yeah.
Run your own pace.
That's the
or-
hardest thing I have.
Yeah.
Is like trying to
Yeah.
back myself off and just imagining like people aren't catching up to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's
what I
hard.
mean?
It gets in your head. And the thing about you're saying, like, you know, like envisioning you finishing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get caught up on the start, but I'm also get caught up. I want to be at the finish already. So you're not enjoying the in between sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're such a hurry to finish and be competitive.
Right.
You're not enjoying what's going on during the ride. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're
missing out.
You know, like when I've done like the Kokopelli Trail race, you know, it's 142 miles, self-supported. You want to start, but you want to be at the finish already.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get ahead of yourself in your mind, where you're not enjoying it.
Yeah. Enjoy the ride. Yeah.
You gotta enjoy the ride, or like doing the vapor trail. You start 10 o'clock at night. It's intimidating. You want to be at the next
You want it to
day
be daylight already.
daylight, and not go
Yeah.
through the 8 hours of nighttime and then be freezing at 5 a.m. at snow blind campground aid station at 5 in the morning, and it's 20 degrees. You know, you want to fast forward in your head. You want to fast forward through that.
Yeah.
So you're not enjoying it as much.
Yeah.
Or if,
Yeah.
or if you're in a hurt locker, you're enjoying it, but not the way you want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You-
I'm gonna try to CTR this year. I'm doing it in August, and I went into it with like, I'm gonna like 6 days maybe, like nice long.
I did
not crazy
6.5 days sleeping at night.
Yeah, and I want to sleep like at least 4 hours a night.
That's
Jeez.
going to be critical, I think.
And I did it. I went into it exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, but I
And was
screwed
it
up
more
though.
enjoyable?
I had to go to class on that Monday. I had to be in
Oh.
Grand Junction,
Right.
so I didn't want to be wrecked.
Right.
And I was fine.
Right.
And so I went into it with the mindset of what I want to do, and it worked out. But it was enjoyable.
Yeah. But it's kind of one that I want to go do once, and then maybe in a few years go back and
Yeah.
do it again with what I've learned, and maybe
And
try and go a
Yeah.
little
I've
faster.
had no need
Yeah.
to go do it again.
Really?
I got
Yeah.
through it clean.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
One time's good. Maybe the other direction, but we might try and go do it together.
I haven't done it, and my thoughts were if we go do it together, we should do it on foot, and that way we can do the wilderness stuff, which he hasn't done.
Oh.
And
that'd be cool.
then Pico can come too. So that's kind of what I was thinking
Yeah.
whenever we do it.
Yeah. It's a bigger time commitment though. Yeah.
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 But yeah.
We'll see.
Get enough time off of work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys seem to work pretty good jobs to give you enough time off of work.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, I'll stop working here in a few years. So
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you can go full on.
At least full time.
I'm gonna go do the Tour Divide like at our pace and take a whole. If we want to take a whole summer,
Yeah.
let's just go do it and take a whole
Right.
summer.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. Just the Montana and Wyoming and like those like the Tetons.
I've been following some
So
people on
many
Instagram that are doing a
landscapes.
race right now, and they're posting every few days.
Yeah.
Like the girl who's in first place.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Megan?
Yeah, Megan.
She's
Yeah.
crushing it.
Dude, yeah, she's
She's
way
like-
ahead of the women's
Record.
Layal's time from
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. Okay. Worst crash or fall?
Geez. I guess when I fell and broke my hand, that was probably the worst one because I broke something.
Yeah, and that was the cross country mountain bike race.
It was a downhill race.
Downhill race.
West Mountain. Yep.
Yeah.
And I was the only female there. I could have walked down the whole course and won, but
But you had to go and break your hand.
it was a bike race. So
Yeah.
that's
Do you-
probably
do
my
you,
worst one.
Did you enjoy downhill racing?
Not as much as cross country because it was not a matter of if you're going to crash, it's when you're going to crash.
Totally.
There's really no way around that.
I know we
with
watched
the
some of the YouTube.
technical stuff and the
downhill
speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There-
I wasn't
people
great
were
at
wadding
it.
up all the time.
Bike crashes are wild. They're just so wild and like everything's flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Body. It's like amazing how people don't get more hurt.
It was all rocks and roots and mud and stuff in the East Coast too. And I was riding flat pedals. I wasn't clipped in, which I think would have been better for me. A lot of the guys rode flat pedals, but I think I would have been better with clipless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could get them out of the
You don't
way.
bounce off because I was bouncing off the pedals and stuff, so you couldn't go. I wasn't able to go as fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying flats for Colorado Trail Race.
Yeah.
Anywhere?
Just 'cause
That
of
might
the
be
hiking.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like clipping in.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the comfort of hiking.
Yeah. There's going to be enough hiking
Well,
that
CTR.
might be
Someone asked me.
more comfortable on the feet.
Yeah, someone asked me how much I think I walked on the CTR. I don't know, probably 75 miles of the 550.
Okay.
There's a lot.
That's a lot of time.
I felt like I walked a ton on the 300.
Yeah.
Dylan,
Probably not as much as I
it's
thought.
up and down. That's
Yeah.
all you know. You
Yeah.
can go up to one pass to go down the other side, and guess what? You're gonna do it again and again and again
Yeah.
for 6 days.
Yeah. And the downs are pretty rideable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some gnarly stuff.
I mean, some of the downs like on
Scree
AZT
fields.
are like not that rideable.
Scree
Yeah.
fields, chunk,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely rideable. You're gonna love. There's a lot of amazing terrain.
Yeah.
When you do it, oh yeah.
Can't wait.
When you get up out of Silverton, which direction you going?
Southbound. Yeah. So Denver to Durango.
Okay. When you get over in the Cataract
Mhm.
area, the highest point area, and you make your way to Silverton, it's unlike anything you've seen.
Really?
It's there's no trees. It's just like all wide open. You're at like 10,000 feet elevation. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
It's the only unknown for me is the storms being above tree line.
I got caught in a couple when I did the
coordinating
CTR.
Yeah.
Two bad ones above Copper Mountain, up on Kokomo Pass and Searle Pass.
Yeah.
That was pretty nasty. That's scary up there.
You just put your head down and get down as
I
quick
got
as
down
possible.
as fast as I could. Yeah. I was with a couple of the guys. It was like 5 of us, 3 of us that were together most of the time. Like I made a rookie mistake, and I had a Garmin like 740 or 705 that wasn't rechargeable, and I had no e-treks. I had no navigation after day 1. So I was with a couple of guys who had the e-treks, and we were all the same pace, so I was good.
Stuck with them. Yeah.
But if I wasn't with them,
yeah,
I was screwed.
really,
I probably wouldn't have finished.
it's not that easy to follow.
It is, but it isn't. But you got wilderness detours. You have, you'd be mucking with maps and stuff.
Probably
Right.
like Arizona Trail.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's
you'd be-
sections that are super easy
you'd
to
be
follow,
lost,
and then sometimes you're completely
I didn't have a map.
lost.
There's no map app on my phone at the time.
Lose the trail.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
just lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything aligned.
Who inspires you, Jeff?
Who inspires me?
Yeah.
Myself, mostly.
A guy named El Freako.
Well, that's an appropriate answer, wasn't it? What inspired a lot of
There are
things.
no wrong answers on this podcast.
A lot of things inspired me. People,
Yeah.
seeing what other people do. Holly's inspired me for a long time.
Yeah.
On what she's done and what she does. Just other people in general. Yeah, not anything in particular, but
Yeah.
just inspired by a lot of different.
Seeing people pushing boundaries
Yeah.
and seeing what's possible.
Yeah, you see people doing these like ultra runs. It's like, oh man, we can do that, and we're capable. We know we can do stuff that's hard. We like doing hard stuff.
Yeah.
Getting out there in the weeds, I say. But I'm inspired just like just different people watching what they do. That's what's great about I think the social media. It's good and bad.
Yeah.
But you get sucked into the rabbit hole on Instagram where you see these ultra athletes and they're doing this, doing that, and that's inspiring. Somewhere over the top with the social stuff, but you see what they do.
Yeah.
Or you watch YouTube stuff and they're just doing crazy stuff.
Constantly doing stuff.
or we're
And you
out
wonder
there-
how do you have time to do all these
I know.
things?
Or
We'd love to, but
Or we're out there and we meet people
yeah.
that are doing stupid stuff. Like we were down on Beamer Trail camping with some friends backpacking out there. And we met this couple that was cruising on the trail doing the Hayduke Trail.
Okay. I don't know this.
You don't know the Hayduke Trail?
Oh,
Check it out later. It's
insane.
graduate level
No, it's
hiking.
it's beyond graduate level.
What is that like?
It's backpacking. It's fast packing.
Okay.
It goes. You start
Thank you.
in Moab at where's the official start?
I forget.
But you traverse all the way to Zion National Park,
Okay.
and you cross the Colorado River twice.
Okay.
You have to get
A boat ride.
raft rides across.
Okay.
It's
And
intense. It sounds
super
really
intense.
intense.
We watched a documentary on it.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's super scary.
You know Haydukes from the Monkey Wrench Gang?
No.
An Edward Abbey book called The Monkey Wrench Gang.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a character
look
called
into
Hayduke.
it.
Okay.
You'll be
Yeah.
super
I
intrigued.
will.
And we were doing my bikepacking birthday ride this year, and there was a
There was a
couple by
couple.
the stream that I was talking about earlier that had water in it, and they were sitting there and they looked like they had very big packs. I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing out for a day hike? And he's like, oh no, we're like 700 miles into this. I was
They had
like,
about
oh.
100 miles left of it.
Oh.
And so as soon as he said that, Dylan, I said, hey, Dukers.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I knew they were through hikers. I could tell by the look of
Sun
them.
umbrella, tan, super
Yeah.
tan legs.
Yeah.
But they were hey Dukers, so we've met in person two couples doing the hey Duke.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's just like so many levels to this thing.
Yeah.
Like I've never even.
No, you and Jess get
So wild.
get on YouTube and look for the documentary about the
Hey
Hey
Duke,
Duke.
yeah.
All right.
You guys will be sucked in.
I'm in. We'll see.
Anyway, but back to that original question. Yeah, inspired by people out doing that. Just
Yeah.
like, through hikers are amazing.
Yeah.
I got friends who've quit their jobs and went to the Appalachian Trail through hike or Pacific Coast Trail through hike. You're out there for 40, 50 days.
It's
and
another level.
I was
Yeah.
inspired when I was doing the CTR. I was really inspired by through hikers, young people right out of college, by themselves, through hiking the Colorado Trail, all by themselves,
Yeah.
right out of college, or women solo. A lot of women. I was really taken aback by how many women solo through hikers there are on like CTR
Yeah.
and even on Arizona Trail.
Since COVID,
So
I think things
and
have
before
really
that,
changed.
when I was doing CTR back in 2014.
Yeah.
A lot of solo people. That's very inspiring to see people out there by themselves just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole different level of commitment.
It is.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Okay. Do you listen to podcasts?
Yes.
And what's your favorite podcast?
I like Risk.
Okay.
There's one called Risk. I listen to that and listen to some other ones like This American Life and like the true crime stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Right on. Do you listen while you're out doing stuff? Like running, riding?
More so if I have a long car ride by myself. If I'm riding or running, I tend to listen to music.
Yeah.
Like really high tempo stuff. Or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Podcasts don't seem to be quite... If I was hiking, maybe.
Yeah, but when you're engaged, it's
Yeah.
hard to...
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's hard to focus when I'm engaged. And I catch the first 5 minutes of something, and then I'm like... An hour goes by, and I have no idea what they were talking
Yeah.
about.
You lost
Because I was
track.
just engaged in
You
something.
just like
Yeah. Hear
zoned out.
words.
Like maybe a long, grindy road ride.
Yeah.
Or gravel, like 2 hours long gravel ride. Like I
Yeah.
can focus on what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the Dirtbag Diaries a lot too. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that one's come up a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to
There's
it.
some
but-
crazy stories on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, worst water source you've ever drank from?
a nasty cow tank.
Which one?
There's a lot of those in Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm trying to think of which one. There's been many that all look the same.
Yeah.
Algae, green algae,
Cow
questionable.
poop. And,
Probably those are more questionable, but your filter's going to do the job. But the time I filtered on a Cocopilla Trail race on the Colorado River, where it's just snow runoff, because we do the race was typically in May, the weekend after Mother's Day,
Yeah.
which was always the weekend after the 12 hours of Mesa Verde, which I would do every year. And we roll right into the Cocopilla Trail race, and you're out there in the Colorado River, and it's all snow melt. So it's silt. I've broken a Catadyne Pro Hiker filter handle, pushing the silt through it,
Yeah.
because you're gonna die out there. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's barren on that
water's
section.
few and far between.
And when I called the company to get it warranted, they're like, "Well, was it hard to push the handle down?" And I told the lady on the phone, "Yes, I was filtering on the Colorado River, and I was gonna die if I didn't have water. Yes, it was hard to push down."
What'd you say?
It was such a.
She was like, "Okay, sir."
and then
Sorry to hear that.
so that was probably more concerning on that than a cow tank,
Yeah,
because a cow tank's not going to clog your filter up.
totally.
So the Colorado River many times, and on that same Cocopilla Trail race, there's a little creek called Salt Creek that's over by the Cocopelli trails by Fruta, the actual single track section.
Yeah.
And you're underneath the train trestle before you climb up to the top of the mesa there to get on the trails, actual single track before you finish. And that's as bad as the Colorado River. It's just pure silt brown mud.
Yeah.
And so you want to bring like a coffee filter to try and pre-filter the water, a bandana, a neck buff, something.
Yeah.
So I think those are probably worse than any cow tank I've encountered.
Interesting. Yeah.
The pre-filter filter.
The pre-filter to filter, yeah, if not
Yeah.
twice.
Okay, and the final question for Holly: one piece of advice you'd give to a new endurance athlete?
Do your homework. Definitely know the route and know where the water sources are, and don't skimp on necessary gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bring your positive mental attitude.
Cool.
Can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
So a lot of people jump into, maybe they just got into biking or something, and then they jump right into the hardest thing they can find. And then they stop. Because they went ham out of the gate.
Too hard, too fast.
You know what ham is?
Yeah.
Hard as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Trying to go from a 50K to 100 miles
Or-
when you haven't done the,
Scale into it.
scale into it.
Yeah, and I've learned over the years, I just naturally progressed from cross country racing to 12-hour races to 24-hour races to 100-milers. I couldn't even tell you how many 100-milers
To
I've done.
self-supported.
To self-supported stuff. And,
Yeah.
and then, to the bike packing and, the foot race, the foot adventures. It's not always racing. It's just going out doing hard stuff, just fun stuff. You got to progress into it.
Yeah.
You can't just jump into it. And a lot of people get soured. They go too far and they're like, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
Then they stop.
Totally.
There's been people I've seen some of these bike pack races. They go out there and they get in over their head and they finish, or they don't finish, and you never see them again.
And maybe they just figured out that wasn't something they were into.
Wasn't their jam.
Well, a lot of that happened during COVID.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that were getting into the outdoor industry and trying things. So part of that is that, I think. But
and when life returned to almost normal, it's never gonna be normal again, but they realized, okay, that wasn't for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's progressive, and I started off years ago bike racing with the small miles and progressed into it.
Right.
And realized, I like this stuff. I want to be out there longer. I don't want to just go do a cross country race and be like, oh, that was cool. I'm done in an hour and a half. I get to go home. I was doing cross country races. I was traveling back and forth from Vegas to Big Bear doing their 2-week series, or Fontana, California, doing the cross country races every couple of weeks in the series.
Yeah.
Fun
well,
stuff.
I think that, media and even this podcast, we're talking about all these like crazy things that you two
are
do.
possible.
And, people don't think about the years and years of, it's really good that you're talking about that, the years and years of scaling into these things, and the slow chip away at what you've gotten at now, what you've become now. And people see it on social media or whatever, and they see people signing up for a 200-mile race every month of the year or something.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but they don't just jump, people that realize there's a backstory to everybody's story.
Yeah.
They progressed into it. You grew up this way, or you didn't grow up this way, or, we met a cool dude. We were doing the fast packing part of the wilderness section outside Pine, and we left the Verde River and we were climbing up, and we met a guy from Espanola, New Mexico.
Okay.
If you know anything about Espanola, it's not a good place. It's rough.
Okay.
My uncle, who lives in Santa Fe, when I lived in Albuquerque, he's like, don't go through that town.
Like gangs and crime and stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly, yeah. Of that nature. He's like, don't even stop in the daytime, Jeff, if you go through there. And here's this guy, you can tell he came from a rough upbringing.
Yeah.
But he's out there doing this. He said he's from Espanola. I was like, wow.
Through hiking the AZT.
Tear up.
He had some tats. But he was out there by himself.
Wow, yeah.
Doing it.
He said, he's like, I'm soaking beans every day so I can eat my beans at night.
Okay.
But it was cool to meet a guy from Espanola, which, it's a rough town. If anybody knows, Mexico.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool. And so.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a backstory.
That's inspiring.
Yeah.
Whenever you're going to meet another person from Espanola, New Mexico, who's through hiking Arizona Trail?
Totally.
Probably never.
Dude, I've had some of the craziest, coolest, nostalgic experiences, meeting people, being in weird towns at weird times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so much fun. You can almost always guarantee you're going to come across a situation that you never expected being in, whether it's with people or with wildlife or with just crossing through these weird, tiny little towns, at weird times of the night or the day, or it's just, and people are normally cool, but like, it's always an experience,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think you just got to work into it. People, like us, been doing this for a long time, and you're progressively doing different things.
Yeah.
And then some people just find their niche. They don't want to go out there for 100 miles or 75 miles or overnighter. Yeah. They just know what they want. They go out for their little after work ride and they're happy as a clam.
Yeah.
You get a little exercise. But the thing most important in life is you have to be active. You have to be active. You can't be a couch potato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's your meat machine, you got to work out your meat machine.
Yeah.
You only get one of them.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you can tell the people that didn't work out their whole life, or at least stay active their whole life,
Yeah.
So those people start to deteriorate.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you do. And if you're healthy, some people deteriorate.
Yeah.
It's just your body, your genes.
Yeah, but you can definitely prolong it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad that we found this and that I stopped smoking and realized that exercise was what I needed rather than, antidepressants. I needed to go and move my body and be outside and have the fresh air.
But sometimes you're tired, though. I mean,
yeah, sometimes you're tired.
You don't feel like doing anything.
Of course.
Yeah, but it definitely is a natural it's an endogenous replacement for those outside
need it.
things. Yeah, me too. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have it now, I'll latch on to, I'll addict onto something else.
Yeah.
And it's been a series of different addictions, and this is like the one that I hope holds.
Yeah.
This
is a good addiction.
It's the best that I've found, in
Healthiest
life, the healthiest.
addiction.
Yeah, even though sometimes it's not that healthy.
Right.
But in general, it's way better than the other stuff.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and you got a good schedule coming up. You're going to do CTR. You're going to go do the Stagecoach 100
Yeah.
miler foot
Yeah.
race. So you
the
got
two longest events I've ever done.
So you got a
Awesome.
good mix on tap.
Yeah.
And it's good because
Yeah.
it keeps you goal oriented, focused.
Yeah.
You have a task at hand.
Yeah, I fall apart when I'm not like,
Yeah.
I got to go do this thing. Yeah.
I
And
think
some
you
people
have a
ask
good
us-
plan doing the cycling thing first, and then you're going to do the run.
Oh, really? I didn't do that
I
on
think so.
purpose.
I think because I feel like you get more. It's a longer recovery period coming from like 100-miler.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I was telling Dylan earlier, where we did Cocodono 250. Then we went to Paynes and Pines
2 weeks
2 weeks
later.
later.
I remember that.
Oh, then we threw in the 25 miler with Rachel on Highline Trail
Yeah.
right after that.
That was definitely a test. We weren't sure if that was a good idea, but we did it. We did get them both done.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Maybe not recommended, but
But we can talk more about the 100 miler. And
Yeah.
I'm a horrible pacer, so don't ask me to pace.
Okay.
I paced Harley on Cocodono last year.
Oh, really?
I'm the bad cop. Holly's the good cop.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
keep that in mind when I'm selecting my pacers.
I was pacing Harley, and I got the night shift the whole time.
yeah.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
His name's Harley, but he was hardly moving. I kept telling him. And then one time I was up with these other runners and pacer, and Harley's like a mile behind me, and Harley's like, "Yeah, this guy asked me where my pacer was," and he goes, he hates pacing. He's up there with some other runners.
That's hilarious.
But that was a learning lesson.
I took care of him though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence on whether or not I'm gonna have pacers or not. I thought about just like no crew, no pacers, just like
Yeah.
self-supported ethos kind of. But
I did the Stagecoach. I had a pacer just because Amy wanted to come out from Albuquerque and pace me the last
Yeah.
20. It was fun, but I got through mile 80.
I definitely know that someone to talk to will make it go by faster.
Yes. You might
So,
appreciate it in the middle of
Yeah,
the
I was
night.
out there in the dark when I did that. I grinded from Boundary up to Whole Cabin by myself in the
yeah,
dark, and there's
yeah.
no one around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You may be by yourself in the dark with no one around.
yeah.
It might be nice.
I didn't mind it. I actually called my brother on the phone. I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, Pat, how you doing?" He's like, "What are you doing?" I thought you racing. I said, "I am." I said, "I'm crawling up a hill."
Yeah.
I guess you
time to
could call a
talk.
friend if you needed to because you'll have reception for some
Right.
of it.
I know, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm gonna call Pat."
Right on.
Anyways,
All right, let's wrap this up. You have some stuff you want to promote? Cocopelli Bikes.
Coca-Cola Bike and Board out of Cortez, Colorado, of course. They've been our awesome sponsor for a long time. They make great titanium bikes, great bike shop. They have a bike shop in Cortez, Colorado, and in Dolores, Colorado, up the road.
Cool. That's
Great
the bike
guys.
you ride.
Scott and Pete are awesome. They've been sponsoring me since I moved to Rico in 06, and they take care of us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see your other. You got ESI grips.
Yeah, ESI. I love their handle grips. They're a great sponsor of ours. The Pickle Blast.
Yep.
Drink high five. I got some Pickle Blast if you want some, Dylan.
My wife loves that stuff too. So
You
yeah.
guys been ordering it?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
She got a whole case of it.
Oh, she did?
So yeah, for
Awesome.
Cocodona.
Those guys are
So,
great.
yeah. Kept her going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
good.
was one of the only things she was when she started to get, indigestion and
Yeah.
issues, nausea, that seemed to keep it at bay.
Yeah, and those guys are great. They're out of Peoria. They're local.
Okay.
So really awesome guys. And Dave and Jeff Horick and Dave are really awesome guys.
Nice. And then what else? Squirrel's nut butter.
Squirrel's nut butter.
You're an
Oh
ambassador,
man,
right?
we
For
use that
sure.
stuff. I use it every day. I put it on my feet every
Yeah.
day. Put my socks on to go to work.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's the best.
Happy toes.
man, we made a mistake one time. We almost didn't have enough. We did the Maricopa Trail race, bikepacking
And
race.
it was really
Okay.
humid.
We couldn't use enough of it.
Yeah.
Really?
It was hot and humid
awful.
Yeah.
for March, which was really weird.
Yeah.
For Phoenix area. But man, we were both getting the chafe, man. But Squirrel's nut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I did Paynes and Pines this year, I had 3 little containers with me.
Oh, the little samples.
I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna run out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
love
good
those
stuff.
guys.
Works
Local,
good for so many different things.
local Flagstaff people. So that's our main sponsors.
Cool.
We don't like. I really don't like sponsors, but when it's a product we really enjoy,
Yeah.
like I just don't want to get a sponsor to get free product,
Right.
and then you have
if
to
you're not
promote
gonna use
them.
it, yeah.
But we had a local friend turn us on to in Prescott turn us on to the Pickle Blast guys when they first started. We first tried it. We were doing the 44-mile Arizona trail loop around Flagstaff,
Yeah.
and they gave us some to try on that run. And it I was like, oh yeah, hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, Squirrel Nut Butter. When I was in Prescott, when Christopher Cohn was working for them, he came to do the Prescott Monster Cross, and I got done doing the Monster Cross long loop that year, and he gave me a bunch of samples, and that was probably, I don't know, 2016, 17?
Yeah. They've really expanded in their packaging. They changed all like sustainable packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they're just so cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just so honored to be like a part of their growth and
so
be able to promote the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so, Squirrel Nuts Butter's local. ESI Grips is out of Chino Valley.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Chino Valley.
Dang.
The original silicone grip. But
Yeah.
ESI Grips, sponsors 100%. Love their products.
Yeah.
Actually, when we get home, we probably have a box waiting for us.
Nice.
But I love their plush and chunkies.
Yeah.
And then I said Kokopelli Bike and Board if you're up there in that neck of the woods. Pete's great. I talk to Pete more than I do Scott, the other owner. But
Cool. And then your Instagram, l.freako.racing.
Yeah, something like that. Just you
Yeah.
can Google Freako Racing.
Yeah.
And Holly's just
I'm a slacker. I wouldn't even bother.
Yeah.
Holly Hovious.
Your stealth.
I do all
Your
the
stealth
I do all the
Instagram.
tagging in the post. I do all
He's
the
our
pictures.
social media guru.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm
Cool.
a slacker.
Yeah, it's okay. I understand. I'm mixed.
Yeah.
I've asked Jess to manage the Instagram for this because I don't know. I
Yeah.
have mixed feelings on it. It's like,
Yeah.
I got to deal with it all the time.
You know, when I was doing, before social media kind of blew up and I had the blog spot,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I was putting my race results on there, and I was putting on like who sponsors me and doing write-ups. I know people that love reading it. So I
Yeah.
get a lot of responses like, oh, I love reading your blog. But when social media got more blown up with Facebook and Instagram, then I stopped doing the blog.
Yeah.
But I've had people recently tell me, oh, I love reading your blog. You should do it. I was like, social media kind of took that away. I can do a quick
This
snip.
is the new blog, I think. Video podcast.
The podcasting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like getting, recaps of races and
So how many hits subscribers do you have?
so my YouTube has like just over 2,000 subscribers. But I've been growing it for a couple of years
Just
now.
got going on this in February,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just getting going.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of getting started, at least with the
Yeah.
podcast. Like I kind of changed from produced content, like, produced videos where my top 5 Arizona trail race tips or something like that to really just like putting the podcast out and
Yeah.
having conversations and just like putting
Yeah.
that out
Yeah.
raw on the internet,
Yeah.
which from a time point of view, this is way more sustainable. And it's also, I can like travel like here, I could set up the tent here and
Anyway,
Yeah.
come to you and like make it happen,
right here in Fort Tuttle,
So yeah, right.
Flagstaff, Arizona.
Like I just want to continue to have conversations and make space to have really cool conversations and learn about stuff like we did today. So
Well, yeah.
like I wouldn't sit down with both of you for this long, just out of the blue
Right.
to just no cell phones, have a chat, right?
Yeah.
But this allows me to make a space for that. So
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate your time.
No,
yeah.
thanks for having us. We're really honored.
And
Yeah,
we'll have to
absolutely.
do the ultimate 8-hour endurance podcast someday. Just kidding. We'll repeat 3,000 times. Just kidding. So yeah. So good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
On your both your race.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a little 6-hour race.
Getting
Little-
ready
just a
for the
little-
crusher and the tusher.
Yes,
Yeah.
prepping for the tushers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and good luck on that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks,
yeah.
Dylan.
Thank you.
All right.